Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Abused and Becomes the Knights of the Zodiac movie. Before we start, please go support Angel Gonzalez 753 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Beauty of a gentleman. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. Gustav. I notice you're uneasy, what's going on? Said a brown-haired boy with green eyes wearing golden armor. Issei. No, it's nothing, he said thoughtfully, also with his own armor, but two wings stood out from it. Gustav. Don't lie, you were thinking about that, right? He said sadly for his friend. Issei. I can't hide anything from you, right? He said, lowering his head. Gustav. Don't torment yourself anymore, they can't hurt you anymore, he said, putting his hand on the brown-haired boy's shoulder. Issei. Thank you very much, if it weren't for you and the others, apart from the support of Athena and the Patriarch, I don't know where I would be, he said calmly. Gustav. And don't forget Mr. Ioros, he said calmly. Issei. Yes, my master, I hope you are happy wherever you are, he said with nostalgia. Sagittarius, Leo, I need you to come with me, said a man with a golden helmet. Issei. Gustav. Yes, your illustriousness, they said in unison with a slight bow. So the two followed the man until they reached a temple on top of 12 others, and upon entering they found another 10 people in golden armor and a purple-haired woman sitting on a throne with a staff. Patriarch. Now the 12 golden knights are present, said the serious man. Goddess Athena, why did she call us so unexpectedly? Said a young green-haired man wearing armor with horns. Athena. Well, Xian, what happens is that in 2 weeks there will be a meeting in the underworld, and my father Zeus wants me to attend to have an alliance between the Olympian gods and the 3 biblical factions, in addition to the Nordic one, said the purple-haired woman in a soft voice. Then we have to go for his safety, I guess, said another green-haired man with a cold tone. Patriarch. That's right, Degel, but not only that, the leaders of the biblical factions want a show of our power and open a confrontation between a group of their warriors against 4 of you, he said seriously. Wow, how interesting, and who are we going to fight? Said a brown-haired man with armor with weapons. As impatient as ever, Doko, said a blue-haired woman in a calm tone. Don't say that, Integra, it's just fun knowing that we'll fight in an exhibition match with the old man's approval, said another blue-haired man in a funny way. You never change, Manigoldo, always disrespectful, said a very attractive blue-haired man. You're always the party pooper, Albafica, you don't enjoy life, said another blue-haired man who had armor with a big stinger. Do you want to behave? You look like a bunch of children fighting, said a rather serious black-haired man. Calm down, Sid, but changing the subject, who are we going to fight against? Said a rather tall man with great corpulence. It's a good question, we must know who the enemy is before deciding who will fight, said a blonde with his eyes closed. Patriarch. They will be the heirs of the Citri and Gremory clans, he said without further ado, making a chestnut shudder at the Gremory surname. Athena. And that's why I decided that the ones who will fight will be Issei of Sagittarius, Gustav of Leo, Doko of Libra and Xian of Aries, and my choice was simple, it's a fairly balanced group, and I know that they won't do crazy things like a certain crab and scorpion, she said calmly, making said knights tense. Patriarch. The rest will go as bodyguards. I hope for your commitment and your behavior with beings of high importance in the understood supernatural world, he said seriously. Gentlemen. Yes, they said decisively. So the 12 left the temple and went in different directions. Gustav. Issei, calm down, he said nervously, seeing the brown-haired boy's behavior. Issei. You want me to calm down, how do you want me to calm down? I'll see those bastards again, he said upset. Gustav. Calm down, he said, slapping her. Issei. Thanks, I needed that, he said more calmly. Gustav. That doesn't matter, look, they don't know what happened to you, and besides, that doesn't mean anything to you anymore, does it, he said, curious. Issei. It doesn't mean anything, boo, but I don't know what to think after so much time, he said nervously. Gustav. Don't worry, we'll all be there to support you, you can count on that, he said calmly. Issei. Do you really believe it? He said nervously. Gustav. That's right, but the truth is that you show them the power of Sagittarius. Issei. The Cult Club, Kuo City, Japan. We see a sad Reed immersed in her thoughts. Riaz. You're just a loser, you're not like Zack, she said mockingly. Issei. Why do you say that? He said sadly. Riaz. It's true, you're just a good-for-nothing useless person, she said amused. The Keno. Riaz is right, you will never be Zack, she said mockingly. Riaz. I wish I had never met you, she said she would. Riaz. Issei, forgive me, you don't know how much I hurt you, she said, shedding tears while looking at a photo of the brown-haired boy. The Keno. You'd laugh again thinking about the truth, he said sadly, hugging the Reed. Riaz. I was stupid, sniff, you don't know how much I regret it, sniff, he would be here if I hadn't been so stupid, she said, shedding tears. Akeno. It's not just your fault anymore, we all made mistakes. Who would have thought that Zack would become an arrogant and perverted braggart? She said sadly. Riaz. I don't care about him anymore, I want to find that sweet boy who made me smile and who I didn't know how to appreciate, she said dejectedly. Surzich. Riaz, we need to talk, he said, appearing next to his queen. Riaz. It has to do with that damn marriage, she said, frustrated. Surzich. It's not something very different, and it's that in 2 weeks we have a meeting with the Olympic and Nordic factions and they will have a confrontation against 4 of their warriors, he said seriously. Riaz. But as if I can't win a simple raiding game, how do you expect me to face the warriors of a faction, she said frustrated. Surzich. Don't worry, it won't just be you, there will also be Sona's group, he said seriously. Riaz. Well, who will they be against? She said curiously. Surzich, the Knights of Athena. Encounter with the supernatural. 2 weeks have passed and Athena along with her 12 golden knights and the Patriarch were preparing for the meeting. Patriarch. Are you all ready? He said seriously while the 12 nodded. Athena. If that is the case, we have to go, she said happily. Underworld Gremory Castle. The 3 leaders of the biblical factions could be seen alongside the Gremory and Citri entourages, waiting for their guests. Michael. Then Athena will come representing the Olympian gods, he said curiously. Azazel. That's right, and she will be accompanied by her right hand and her 12 strongest warriors, he said thoughtfully. Seraphol. How exciting, we will meet beings whose strength is said to be surprising, she said happily. Ajuka. We must also not overlook the fact that Odin will come with his representative on Earth, Beelzebub said seriously. They could not continue because 2 magic circles appeared in the room, revealing a young purple-haired girl with 12 warriors and a man, and on the other side, an elderly man with 2 silver-haired women and a young man in dark armor. Surzich. Hello, it's a pleasure to have you here, Odin, Goddess Athena, he said very respectfully. Athena. Hello, nice to see you, Mass of the Underworld, leader of the fallen angels and overlord of heaven, she said politely. Odin. Nice to see you, he said calmly. Michael. I'm glad you came to this meeting, he said calmly. Azazel. Before starting the meeting I would like to know who the people accompanying you are, he said respectfully. Odin. Of course she is my bodyguard Roswis, he said, pointing to one of the women who was wearing a kind of armor. Odin. And this is Hilda of Polaris and her warrior Siegfried of Dub Alpha, he said, pointing to the other woman and the young man. Hilda. Nice to meet you, leaders and Goddess Athena, she said politely. Athena. Well, they are the elite of my knights, the 12 golden saints, and he is the sage patriarch, she said calmly. Patriarch. Nice to meet you, leaders, he said calmly while the saints bowed slightly. Surzich. Well, they are the Gremory and Citri entourage along with their kings Riaz Gremory and Sona Citri, he said calmly. Riaz Sona. Nice to meet you, they said in unison respectfully. Zack. And I am Zack, the almighty sekiryuutei, he said in a conceited manner. Riaz tensed up at the brunette's disrespectful manner. Golden Knights Issei. So this is the idiot who made Issei's life a hell, he's just arrogant, they thought with a drop of sweat on their heads. Patriarch. So the cause of all Issei's suffering is here and they are going to face each other, how interesting, he thought calmly. Surzich. Well, what do you think if we start the meeting? He said nervously while everyone nodded. They spent a good while discussing different points and treaties in order to establish a clear alliance. Michael. Well, that would be all, what do you think? He said curiously. Odin. Well, I have no problem and I see no problem in making an alliance, he said, calmly rubbing his beard while Hilda nodded. Athena. I agree with Odin and I have no objection to making an alliance with you, she said calmly. Surzich. Well, now that the alliance is established we could move on to the exhibition battle, he said calmly while the heiresses became serious. Athena. Sounds good to me, and their rivals will be Sagittarius, Leo, Libra and Aries, she said calmly as the 4 of them walked to the front. Riaz. Because that boy with the winged armor looks familiar to me, she thought uneasily while touching her chest. Surzich, without saying much, used magic to teleport everyone present to a pocket dimension, leaving the clans in the arena with the 4 golden saints and everyone else in the stands. Riaz. Okay, they're ready, she said looking at the 2 groups. Sona. There are 4 rivals, we are 16, so we will divide into teams of 4 and we will try to separate them, understood, she said it would be. Zack. So it seems that they are weaklings who are not at my level, he said arrogantly. Riaz. Shut up and follow the plan, she said angrily. Zack. Okay, he said angrily. On the other side. Gustav. They would be upset if I made the first attack, he said curiously. Oko. Not at all, he said calmly. Xian. You're just doing this so this will end quickly and you can go see Mutant, she said mockingly. Oko. It's not true, he said with a slight blush. Gustav. Issei, what do you think, he said seriously. Issei. I don't care, the faster we get back to the shrine the better, he said seriously. Rafia begin. Sona. Come on guys, let's go, she said, starting to approach the saints. Issei. Attacking head-on without knowing how your enemy fights is stupid, he said seriously. Gustav. Lightning plasma, he said with a firm voice, throwing a bunch of lights that hit all the boys, leaving them on the ground in a lot of pain. Surzich. Boo, but what just happened, he said, shocked like the rest of the leaders. Patriarch. It was an attack that consisted of endless blows at high speed, he said, as if it were nothing. Azazel. What speed are we talking about? He said incredulously. Athena at the speed of light, she said proudly. Leaders Auden. What the hell, they said in shock. Auden. Wow Athena, your warriors are very interesting, he said amused. Back to battle. Riaz. What just happened, she said with difficulty. Xian. You better give up, no offense, but you don't have a chance, he said seriously. Zack. Ma damn you, how dare you talk to me like that, you know who I am the sekiryuutei, the bearer of the Red Emperor, a being capable of killing gods, he said furiously, standing up. Issei. I'll finish this, he said, taking out his bow. Gustav. Don't calm down, let us take care of this, he said seriously. Zack. Hey, what's wrong Legolas? You don't have the balls to attack me or you're on a leash, he said mockingly. Issei remained silent and charged his arrow, raising his cosmos. Gustav. Don't you dare, Issei, he said angrily. Riaz. I say, you said, Issei. Saints in trouble. Everything was silent after what the Knight of Leo said, they didn't know why, only that the atmosphere became tense. Riaz. Say, you said, Issei, she said in shock while her eyes crystallized. Issei. That's right, my name is Issei of Sagittarius, my name was given to me from my birth in the sanctuary, he said a little tensely. Riaz. No, it's not true, you are Issei Haidu, she said, starting to cry. Issei. I'm sorry Gremory heiress, but I don't know the person you're talking about, he said seriously. Gustav. That's right, he's right, we're not brothers for nothing, he said seriously, leaving the retreat in shock. In the stands. Surzich. Athena, what she says is true, he said seriously, because he believed that Rissa would finally be with the man she loves. Athena. Well, during each generation of golden saints, the saints of Leo and Sagittarius are related, whether they are father and son, uncle and nephew, or as in this case they are brothers, she said calmly, hoping that they believe her lie. Riaz. No, it can't be, I thought it was so close, she said frustrated, hitting the ground. Issei. I'm sorry you got excited knowing my name, but I'm not the one you're looking for, he said calmly. Zack. It's good that you're not that useless good for nothing, he said with disgust. Riaz. Shut up, you're not even half the man he would be, she said furiously. Zack. I'm not half the man he would be, please don't say stupid, he couldn't finish because Issei was in front of him and landed a blow that pierced his armor. More or less like this. Issei. You should learn to respect your mistress, he said seriously, letting the brown-haired boy fall without his armor. Zenobia. He defeated Zack with a single blow, said the blue-haired girl in disbelief. Issei. To be honest, it wasn't that difficult, his level is below a bronze knight, he said seriously, turning around. Riaz. I think there is no other option, we give up, she said sadly, while Sona nodded. Rafia. The winners are the saints of Athena, she said it would be. Issei. I hope that one day you find who you're looking for, he said calmly, turning around, leaving Riaz sad. Thus all the saints were transported to the side of their goddess and the rest to an infirmary. Surzich. I recognize that the power of your knights is exceptional, he said in amazement, looking at the goddess. Athena. I appreciate it, and if we have no other business we will proceed to withdraw, she said politely. Auden. If it's true, we'll also proceed to withdraw, he said calmly. Azazel. I see, thank you for your presence and anything you need you can ask for it, he said calmly. Thus the two leaders and their respective companions proceeded to withdraw. In a room of the castle. Riaz. Because why do I feel this oppression in my chest? He's really not Issei, she said thoughtfully without stopping thinking about the night. Surzich. Oh laugh, I'm glad you're okay, he said relieved. Riaz. Nai-sama, calm down, the damage wasn't that bad, I'm fine like the others, she said calmly. Surzich. Everyone is fine, Zack is saved, he is still unconscious, he said with displeasure. Riaz. I hope he finally learns his lesson and stops being arrogant, she said frustrated. Surzich. I hope so, hey why were you so thoughtful, he said curiously. Riaz. Not for nothing, I just thought that they humiliated us again despite our training, she said dejectedly. Surzich. Oh sister, you are such a liar. I know you were thinking about that saint, he said thoughtfully. Riaz. The truth is that I feel like they are lying, I feel like he is Issei, he is my Issei, she said, starting to cry. Surzich. Don't worry, you'll see that we'll find him. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. The 12 saints bowed slightly before returning to their respective homes. House of Sagittarius. Issei stared at Gustav, and the tension between the two saints could be felt. Issei. You know it could have gone wrong because of what you did, he said seriously. Gustav. And you know what your actions would have caused by killing the sekiryuutei, you could have caused a war between us and the demons, he said seriously. Issei. Do you think they would have cared if they killed him? You saw how angry he got when he made fun of me, he said angrily. Gustav. Issei, I know it hurts you what you experienced with those bastards, but you must know how to calm your emotions, he said seriously. Issei. I'm sorry, it was stupid, I know, but I didn't know how to respond, he said, head down. Gustav. It doesn't matter anymore, just remember that you must act like a true gentleman, he said seriously. Issei. I know and I promise I won't act on those impulses again, he said calmly. What impulses, said a girl with silver armor. Issei. Oh hello Yuzuriha, it's nothing, he said calmly. Gustav. It's nothing, just Issei and his impulses to see pretty girls, he said mockingly as he ran out of the place. Issei. Unhappy Gustav comes back here, he said angrily. Yuzuriha. Ara Issei, so you went to have fun at the meeting watching the girls there, she said calmly, but with a murderous aura. Issei, you Yuzuriha, why are you so angry, he said nervously. House of Leo. Gustav. That will make him forget about his problems for a while, he said amused. Athena. Now what did you do? She said from the center of the house, scaring the knight. Gustav. Don't do that, goddess Athena, he said regaining his composure. Athena. Oh come on, you know we're alone, you can call me by my name, she said, making a pout. Gustav. I'm sorry Sasha, but tell me what brings you here, he said calmly. Athena. Well, I wanted to scold him for almost revealing Issei with those people, but since nothing serious happened, I decided to ignore it, but tell me what you did to make Issei forget about that, she said curiously. Gustav. Well, let's say I left that in Yuzuriha's hands, he said amused. Athena. One day they're going to kill him, she said calmly. Gustav. Yes, I know, but when that day comes, I swear I will save him, he said mockingly. Athena. I hope so, she couldn't continue because a shiver ran through her body. Gustav. Sasha, what's wrong, are you okay, he said worried. Athena. Hades has awakened. Darkness lurks. 11 golden lights could be seen ascending at high speed towards the Patriarch's chamber. In the chamber. Patriarch. Athena, calm down, I know this is alarming, but you must not lose your head, he said seriously while they waited for the rest of the golds. Gustav. But why now, he said confused. Athena. I don't know, but we have to be ready, she said nervously. Xian. Athena, we are here, said the Ares kneeling next to the other 11. Athena. Thank you for your quick response, she said nervously. Degel. Athena, that disturbs you, said the cold warrior. Athena. I don't know how to tell you this, she said putting her hand on her head. Patriarch. I will say it, the holy war against Hades has begun. Guo City, Japan. We see the Gremory entourage roaming around the city at night. Rias. Damn, where would that damn renegade demon go? She said angrily. Zack. Don't worry, as soon as we find him I'll kill him quickly, he said arrogantly. Akeno. Could you shut up, your damn ego annoys me, said the Fall angrily, bothering the brown-haired boy. Wow, it's not good to fight each other, you're a group unless you want to die, he said, a strange being from the shadows. Rias. Who you are shows you, she said annoyed. Forgive my manners, my name is Violet of Behemoth, said a woman with a strange dark armor. Rias. What do you want? From what I see, you're not a demon, she said seriously while everyone was on guard. Violet. Of course I'm not a demon, I'm a specter, faithful servant of Hades, said the girl proudly. Zack. I don't care if you're me, the powerful sekiryuutei will defeat you, he said, activating his armor and launching into the attack. Rias. Zack waits. The next day. Underworld Gremory Castle. Graphia. Surzich is terrible, she said on the verge of tears. Surzich. Graphia, what's wrong, calm down, he said worried. Graphia. Surzich, Rias and his entourage are on the verge of death, she said with tears. Surzich. But what happened? Said the Redeed, upset. Graphia. I don't know, Sona contacted me saying that Rias sent her a message asking for help, and when they arrived they found the entire entourage seriously injured, and now they are hospitalized in the Citri hospital, she said, trying to control herself. Surzich, let's go there. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. Issei. Come on, move 1212, he said seriously looking at a group of young people. Things are a little hectic this morning, no Issei, said a green-haired girl with a mask. Issei. The situation is critical, Shina, said the brown-haired man seriously. Shina. Wow, things are pretty serious for you to stop smiling, she said uneasily. Issei. Come on, let's talk in private and you guys get on with the work, he said seriously. Shina. So what is the situation, she said it would be. Issei. Don't spread it until Athena says it's understood, he said seriously. Shina. He understood, she said calmly. Issei. Hades has awakened and the holy war has begun, he said seriously, leaving the green-haired girl in shock. Shine Hades, the king of the underworld, she said nervously. Issei. The same, stay calm and don't say anything. Chamber of the Patriarch. Patriarch. We must maintain a security perimeter to know if the specters approach, he said, while checking a map of the sanctuary. Egil. But we have the problem that the specters are immortal, no matter how many times we defeat them they will always come back, he said seriously. Asmita. I have it solved, but I need time, he said seriously. Aldebaran. Then we must stay alert and guard the sanctuary until you finish, he said seriously. Gustav. But we still have the location of the Pegasus armor, he said seriously. Aphrodite. As far as we know, he is in Italy, in Turin, he said seriously. Athena. That's right, and that's why Alcit and Integra will go in search of her, she said it would be, while the two saints nodded. Manigoldo. Hey, I have new information from our demonic allies, said the blue-haired man seriously. Patriarch. And what is Manigoldo, he said seriously. Manigoldo. Well, according to the message, last night the Gremory entourage was attacked by a being that proclaimed itself to be a specter, he said seriously. Oko. The specters attacked a group of demons, it's quite strange, the brown-haired boy said doubtfully. Cardia. It's strange why they would do such an action, he said seriously. Xion. It's not much of the style of Hades that he will be up to, he said seriously. Athena. I don't know, but we have to find out as soon as possible, she said it would be. Patriarch. And what do you have in mind, Miss Athena? He said seriously. Athena. I will send a group of saints to investigate what happened. Greek underworld. We see a young black-haired man sitting on a throne with a purple-haired woman at his side. Hades. Pandora, how did Violet's mission turn out? He said calmly. Pandora. It was a complete success and as requested, he didn't kill anyone, she said calmly. Hades. That's right, but tell me, I notice you're a little nervous, what worries you? He said seriously. Pandora. No, it's nothing, she said nervously. Hades. I'm sure I don't want lies, he said seriously. Pandora. Well, what happens is that I would like to ask for your help to find a friend from my childhood, she said nervously. Hades. And I can know why, he said seriously. Pandora. The truth is that when I met him I felt a powerful cosmos in him and he could be a good servant, she said nervously. Hades. Well, I don't see any problem, he said unconcerned. Pandora. Really, she said happily. Hades. Yes, but now we have to see how to move the pieces in this fun game before my stupid brother decides to intervene, he said seriously. Pandora. And what do you have in mind if it's not too reckless, she said calmly. Hades. We will pay a visit to my dear niece Athena. Sanctuary training camp. We see Issei with Shina and Yuzureha in front of Athena. Athena. Issei, you and them have a mission, she said it would be. Issei. Which is goddess Athena, he said kneeling next to the girls. Athena. I need you to investigate the appearance of some specters, she said a little nervously. Shina. Where do we have to go, goddess Athena, she said with respect. Athena. Kuo, Japan. Attack on the sanctuary. Issei. Athena is serious, he said nervously. Athena. That's right, I want you to investigate everything that happened with the attack of a specter on the Gremory clan, she said it would be. Issei. Boo, but he said nervously. Athena. Issei, I understand that you are going to the place where you suffered a lot, but you must do it, she said it would be. Issei. Okay, when will we leave, he said resignedly. Athena. This afternoon. Hospital Citri in Framundo. Surzich. Laugh as you are, he said seeing the Redeed along with all her entourage with parts of their bodies bandaged. Riaz. Ma, more or less, she said weakly. Surzich. Don't worry, don't overexert yourself, he said calmly. Rafia. The doctor told us that they will be here for a few hours until they get the Phoenix tears, she said nervously. Surzich. Riaz, tell me with your head, do you remember who did this to you? He said a little seriously. The Redeed nodded weakly with a bit of pain. Surzich. Well, as soon as you recover we will begin the search for that bastard, he said angrily. Riaz. No, don't do it, she said weakly and terrified. Surzich. You laugh because you say that, he said surprised by the Redeed's reaction. Riaz. He's a monster that won't kill us, she said entering a nervous breakdown. Surzich. No, don't laugh, calm down. Olympus. Zeus. How is it possible that this is happening? Hades shouldn't have woken up like this, the god of thunder said seriously. Artemis. Father, calm down, I know this is wrong, but we can trust Athena, she has been able to defeat him since the age of myth, she said calmly trying to calm her father. Apollo. We just have to see how things will turn out, he said seriously. Zeus. I think so, I'll trust my daughter. Sanctuary of Athena. Gustav. I'm sorry you have to do this, he said looking at the brown-haired boy. Issei. No, I regret doing this, he said tiredly while raising his cloth with his companions. Gustav. Good luck and remember to keep a cool head and don't do anything reckless, he said seriously. Shina. Don't worry, I'll stop him from doing something stupid, she said confidently. Gustav. Well, I trust you, he said more calmly. Hours later. Patriarch. Athena, the saints have already left for their respective missions. El Cid and Integra to Turin, Asmita to Yammer and Issei, along with 2 silver saints to Kuo. The rest are in their respective houses awaiting new orders, he said seriously. Athena. Thank you very much, she couldn't finish because a loud bang shook the place. Patriarch. What was that? He said, starting to run with Athena. As they came out they could see a black-haired man standing on the clock tower. House of Cancer. Manigoldo. Who is in the fire clock? I can't believe it. King Hades himself has broken into the sanctuary, he said seriously. House of Leo. Gustav. This is unheard of, King Hades himself is here, he said seriously. House of Aquarius. Egil. It is more than clear that this is a declaration of war, he said looking through his house. Fire clock. Hades. It's been a while, Athena, he said in a calm voice looking at the whole sanctuary. Athena. What are you doing here? She said worried. Hades. What a beautiful place, I hate beautiful things, he said while throwing lightning bolts with his hands. The attacks began to destroy different parts of the place. Xion. Damn Hades, how dare you do this, he said furiously. Hades. Stupid golden saints, how dare they interrupt my long-awaited reunion with Athena. How dare they, he said, making a movement with his hand. At that moment the golden ones present in the sanctuary suddenly fell to their knees. Oko. Damn, what's wrong with my body? He said with frustration. On Athena. Cardia. Athena is fine, said the scorpion running alongside Gustav before they were both sent to the ground. Athena. Cardia, Gustav are fine, she said worried. Gustav. My body doesn't respond to me, he said trying to get up. Hades. Don't keep trying, Knight. I used my cosmos to create a barrier that prevents us from moving, he said seriously. Athena. Hades said it would be. Hades. How much hostility, little Athena, he said mockingly. Athena. What do you want, she said it would be. Hades. Nothing, I can't visit my niece before I take her head, he said calmly. Pandora. What's next, my lord? She said, appearing at his side. Hades. Let me see, Athena is in front of me and her strongest warriors are disabled. I think this was the easiest battle I've ever had, he said victoriously. Patriarch. Don't be so sure, said the man while a cloud of energy covered the entire place. Pandora. But what is this? She said angrily. Patriarch. This is a cosmos dome created by the seals of the previous Athena, he said seriously while holding one of those seals in his hand. Hades. It's the best you've got, he said without flinching as he put his hand on the floor and the dome broke. Patriarch. This is impossible, he said incredulously. Hades. Where were we, Athena, he said seriously. Athena. I won't give up so easily, she said holding her staff tightly. Hades. Tell me when I have your head in me, he couldn't continue because a strong blow sent him moving a couple of meters. More or less like this. Gustav. Don't touch her, damn it, he said while standing where Hades was. Hades. Damn you, how dare you touch me, he said furiously, launching a blast of cosmos that hit the brown-haired boy. Athena. Gustav said worried. Pandora. Gustav, his name is Gustav, she said in shock. Gustav. You know me, wait a second, Pop Pandora Heinstein, he said incredulously. Athena. It can't be, you're Pandora, this is impossible, she said in shock. Pandora. To Sasha. Student Council Ku Academy Japan. Sona. Thank you for helping us with this problem, Sagittarius Issei, she said in a respectful tone. Issei. Don't be grateful for this threat, it's something that concerns us, and tell me where the Gremory clan is, he said calmly. Sona. They are still in the underworld hospital, their wounds were healed by Phoenix's tears, but they still need to rest, she said calmly. Too bad you won't have the same luck, said a being with dark armor with large wings. Issei. Who are you? He said, standing on guard. Forgive my manners, my name is Kagaho from Bennu, the celestial star of violence. Darkfire vs Centaur Alaro. Issei. Nice to meet you, Kagaho, I hope you are ready for your death, he said dropping his cloth. The Sagittarius armor began to cover the chestnut. Kagaho. So the saint of Sagittarius, let's see if he is worthy, he said, getting into a battle pose and raising his cosmos. Gremory Ku Residence Japan. Brias. What is that monstrous power? She said from her bed. Brafia. I don't know, but the presence of Sona and her entourage are close, she said seriously and worried. Back to battle. Sona. His power is terrifying, she said nervously. Issei. Come on, that power is incredible, he said raising his cosmos. Tsubaki. His power is just as gigantic as the specters, she said, scared. Hagaho. Solar corona burst, he said, launching his powerful technique. Issei. Atomic thunder, he said, stretching out his hand, throwing flashes. Both attacks collided, creating a huge explosion. More or less like this. Issei. Your power is worthy of a specter, I could even say that your level is comparable to that of one of the judges of hell, he said, amused. Hagaho. Thanks, but what do you think if we continue with the battle, he said seriously. Issei, I think it's perfect. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. We can see the silence that formed after what Pandora said. Athena, impossible, you're Pandora Heinstein, she said incredulously. Hades. It seems that they know each other, he said seriously. Pandora Vera. Flashback. 10 years ago. Gustav. Come on, hurry up, said a little brown-haired boy followed by 2 purple-haired girls, one with green eyes and one with violet eyes. Sasha. Hey, you're faster than us, said the one with green eyes. Pandora. Sasha is right, you are very unfair to us, she said, pouting. Excuse me, who among you is Miss Sasha, said a blue-haired man with a calm expression. Gustav. Who asks and what do you want it for? He said seriously. Excuse my manners, my name is Issei, I have come for her to take her to her new family, said the serious blue-haired man. Sasha. It's me, Mr. Issei, he said timidly. Issei. Well, Miss Sasha, you will come with me, he said without further ado. Gustav. You will not take her, he said, standing in front of Sasha. Issei. I don't care what you say, he said, giving the chestnut a small blow that knocked it down. Pandora. Sasha. Gustav, they shouted worriedly. Pandora. Hey, you didn't have to do that, she said angrily. Sasha. She's right, I'll go with you, but you don't have to hurt him, she said a little annoyed. Issei. Well, it's time to go, he said seriously. Gustav. I told you not to take her, and you will only do it over my dead body, he said, standing up while a strange golden aura was around him. Sasha. Goo, Gustav, she said, surprised to see that strange aura. Issei. How can this young man manifest that amount of cosmos at that age? He said incredulously. Gustav. What's up, refined sir, face me. He said seriously while a strange silhouette of a lion appeared. Issei's impossible is Leo, but the last one to wear that star was Ilias, he said seriously. Gustav. What the hell are you talking about, he said angrily. Issei. Boy, come with us so you can make sure she doesn't go through anything bad, he said seriously. Pandora. No please, I don't want to be alone, she said, wanting to cry. Gustav. I will, and Pandora, I promise you that I will return. In flashback. Pandora. After 10 years and you never came back, she said, squeezing her trident. Gustav. No wait, I know I did wrong, I should have gone back, but he didn't continue because Pandora interrupted him. Pandora. But what, hey, you spent your time taking care of that stupid Sasha, completely forgetting about me even though I always loved you, she screams, unable to avoid shedding tears. Hades. I think it's time to end this fun and entertaining visit, he said as a strange carriage appeared. Pandora. I hope you are ready for next time the ghosts will take your head, she said coldly, getting into the carriage. Gustav. Pandora, he screamed, trying to stop the purple-haired girl, but it was useless, she was gone. Patriarch. Wow, I never thought that the right hand of the king of the underworld was related to the goddess Athena, he said thoughtfully. Athena. I can't believe it, she's our enemy, she said in amazement. Gustav. Kursii. Back to Kuo. The Citri clan could not believe what they were seeing, the fight between the saint and the specter was unimaginable, the power demonstrated by both adversaries was something straight out of a crazy fiction story. China. They are amazed and it is no wonder they are seeing the elite of both armies, she said it would be. Sona. It's incredible, but what is that strange energy that is around him, she said, pointing at both of them. Uzureha. It is the cosmos, the essence from which our strength comes and from which we can create devastating attacks. It is an energy similar to the universe that is within us, she said it would be. Sona. And anyone can release that power, she said intrigued. China. Yes, but to achieve it you need extremely demanding training that not everyone can achieve, she said it would be. Tsubaki. It's so difficult, she said curiously. Uzureha. Try to break a stone of more than 100 kilos with just your fist, she said calmly, surprising everyone. Hagaho. This is over, solar corona burst, he said determinedly, launching his attack, but this time it was launched triple. Sona. He's crazy, he'll destroy everything, he said alarmed. Issei. You think you scare me with that, look, he said pointing his arrow. Hagaho. Show me the holy of Sagittarius, he said launching his powerful attack. Issei. Golden arrow, scream without further ado, launching the attack. The explosion was so uneventful that the saints had to grab Sona's entourage and get them away from the place. Hagaho. Madam, how come you're intact, he said seriously while he was very hurt. Issei. Easy, I'm not like you. I take my precautions and I move away, and unlike you, you thought that your attack was victorious, and you remained motionless, he said seriously. Hagaho. Come on madam, I'm about to die, come on kill me, he said angrily. Issei. Of course not, you are a being who still searches for a purpose in your life, you are not a bad person, you are just someone who lost their way, he said, starting to walk. Hagaho. Yes, silence, you don't know anything about me, he said furiously. Issei. Do whatever you want, I just hope you find the way. Withered roses. The sanctuary remained silent, broken by cries for help and falling structures after the attack of the king of the underworld. Gustav. Cardia, you can move, he said in a low voice. Cardia. Yes, although my body hurts a little, he said, standing up. Gustav. Okay, let's go, we have to see how you can help the wounded, he said, starting to walk towards some stairs. Athena. Gustav is waiting, she said worriedly. Gustav. I'm sorry goddess Athena, the more time I spend here the more lives are lost, he said without stopping his path. Patriarch. It would be best if he is not well, let him go. Guo Student Council Japan. The members of the Citri clan were more than surprised due to the display of power given by the Sagittarius Saint. Sona. I see that without you that specter would have left us the same or worse than the Gremory clan, she said heavily. Issei. It was nothing, but speaking of the subject, I would like to see the Gremory clan to find out what happened to them, he said seriously. Sona. Of course I will take them, since after what happened they changed places to avoid new incidents, she said it would be. Issei. Okay, let's go. Haidu residence. Issei. This has to be a bucking joke, he thought with annoyance, seeing a sign that said Haidu residence. Sona. Okay, come with me, she said calmly, knocking on the door. Who is it? Hello, Miss Sona is coming to visit, said a woman with a kind face, but the sadness was more than noticeable. Sona. Hello Mrs. Haidu, yes, in addition, these young people who accompany me have come to help arrest the person responsible for the incident in Riaz and his entourage, she said respectfully. Mrs. Haidu. Sure, go ahead, I can offer you something, she said politely. Issei. No thank you, very kindly, he said calmly. Who was that woman? Said a man entering the room. Mrs. Haidu. Hello love, it's Sona and some young people who have come to find the culprit of who hurt Riaz, she said in her monotonous voice. Mr. Haidu. I see, make yourself at home, said Cortez. Sona. Okay, let's go to where Riaz is, she said, going up the stairs with the three saints, while the Haidu didn't take their eyes off the brown-haired boy. In the Retide's room. The four of them entered, much to the Retide's surprise when she saw one of the saints from the raiding game. Riaz. Issei of Sagittarius, I owed your visit and your company, she said tiredly. Issei. I came to investigate what happened to you a few days ago, he said seriously. Riaz. I see, because a being with dark armor attacked us under the name of Violative Behemoth, he said it would be. Issei. Violative Behemoth, the celestial star of loneliness, he said seriously. Riaz. You know her, she said incredulously. Issei. It's a specter of Hades. The next day. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. The saints and prospective saints could clearly see the destruction wrought by the king of the underworld. Xian. How many dead are there, he said sadly. Egil 23, but I fear that it will continue to increase, he said coldly. Cardia. A place that houses peace and tranquility became a place of death and destruction, he said seriously. Gustav. That doesn't matter, we must make the guilty party pay, he said coldly. Manigoldo. Wow, the boy is in a bad mood, he said mockingly. Gustav. Shut your mouth, Peanutty couldn't continue because the saint sensed a large group of evil cosmos. Aldebaran. There are quite a few specters heading this way, he said seriously. Oko. They will arrive at Rodorio village, all those people will be in danger, he said nervously. At that moment everyone felt a familiar cosmos on the outskirts of the Rodorio village. Manigoldo. That cosmos is from, he said a little surprised. Patriarch. Albafica of Pisces. On the outskirts of Rodorio village. Spectre X. We must hurry now, the sanctuary is hurt, he said, running with other specters. The ghosts ran around the place until out of nowhere they fell with a white rose on their backs. Albafica. I was waiting for you ghosts, he said, sitting on some rubble and with a field of roses below him, watching the few ghosts that remained. Minos. But look who we have here, one of the most powerful saints of the 88 that exist. I introduce myself, I am Minos of Grypho, the celestial star of courage, said the specter with the largest sapphirus. Albafica. A pleasure, judge of hell, Minos. I am Albafica, a Pisces, he said calmly. Minos. Kill it with introductions, he said seriously. I think that would be suicide, my lord, said a specter appearing among the group of specters. Minos. What are you doing here, celestial star of the depths, Naiad? You belong to the troops of Rhadamanthys, he said, looking at the specter. Naiad. That's not important, the important thing is that you shouldn't even enter that rose garden, it's deadly he said seriously. Inspector why? That doesn't matter, he's just a saint, let's take his life he said, going down with 3 others trying to attack the saint, but they collapsed before attacking. Minos. But what happened he said incredulously. Naib. I was talking to you about this during several wars when I faced the Saint of Pisces, and he has the ability to create deadly red roses he said seriously. Albafica. Indeed, Spectre, this field of real diabolical roses are deadly to everyone, so you are welcome if you have the guts he said seriously. Naib. You have a lot of pride for a saint, but don't think you're such a big deal she said, falling in the field without receiving the effects of the roses, even the roses withered. Albafica. How is that possible he said surprised. Naib. I told you, I face different Pisces saints, your poison is nothing to me anymore he said mockingly releasing a kind of purple mist. Albafica. Don't think you'll defeat me, devil roses she said throwing a bunch of roses that disintegrated when they touched the mist. Naib. Toxic wave said throwing the mist against the Pisces who remained motionless after being in the mist. Albafica. That's all he said mockingly. Naib. Wow, you surpassed my poison he said somewhat amazed. Albafica. You're joking, your poison is a simple breeze, it doesn't even make me nauseous she said absorbing all the mist. Naib. I see I'll have to use this she said taking out a kind of purple crystal. Albafica. What is that he said seriously. Naib. It is a crystal that has the toxicity of 5 previous Pisces saints and my poison he said mockingly. Albafica. You won't beat me, piranha roses he said, laughing blackly. Naib. Die, Pisces she said throwing the crystal. The glass destroyed the roses on contact and he headed towards Albafica, but a shadow stood in front of him. It's okay, Mr. Albafica said a brunette girl with a glass stuck in her back. Albafica. Aga Agasha why did you do that he said in shock. Agasha well because I love him. The fury of Pisces. The battlefield remained silent after what the girl said. Minos. Wow, there is nothing more beautiful than a sacrifice of love he said mockingly. Albafica. No Agasha don't die he said desperately. Naib. Don't worry, Pisces, you'll soon be keeping him company she said, launching into the attack. Hell waves of voice launched an attack that sent Naib flying. Albafica. Manigoldo said shocked seeing the Saint of Cancer. Manigoldo. What the hell are you doing he said angrily. Albafica. Aye he said, beside himself. Manigoldo. Give me the girl, maybe Dejel can do something for her he said seriously. Albafica. It's okay please save her he said worried while Manigoldo held the girl. Manigoldo. Yes, whatever you say, hurry up, she will most likely want to see you when she wakes up he said seriously, leaving the place. Minos. Where do you think you're going cancer attack he said furiously. Albafica. Piranha roses he said seriously throwing some black roses. The attack knocked down all the specters, leaving the judge of hell standing. Albafica. Now it's your turn he said annoyed, raising a red rose. Minos. You think it will be easy, because I will prepare because your death will be near. Fujipan Haidu residence. The brown-haired boy looked at the Reti's shocked face. Riaz. And what is a ghost she said coming out of shock. Issei. He is a servant of Hades, they are like us he said seriously. Riaz. It is their inverse in a few words, they are like the saints of Athena, but from Hades, and they are known as specters she said amazed. Issei. Good conclusion and as you realize they can be just as powerful as us he said seriously. Riaz. I know she could have killed us because she didn't do it she said thoughtfully. Issei. I wanted to give a message, I wanted to show that they know about the alliance between the Olympians and the biblical factions he said seriously. Riaz. I see, I'm sorry that it's my fault you had to come here she said sadly. Issei. It's not a bother, any matter involving the specters concerns us he said seriously. Riaz. Thank you she said without taking away her sadness. Issei. Don't thank me, well we're leaving, and we have to find a place to sleep he said calmly. Riaz. Why don't you stay here? This house is very big she said curiously. Issei. We don't want to cause any trouble he said, leaving the room with Sona and the others. Riaz. Again there is oppression in the chest, I know that he is my Issei she said sadly. The boys were about to leave, but the brown-haired boy saw a family photo where the 4 of them were happy. China. Issei are you okay she said worried. Issei. Yes I am fine a sound interrupted him. Crash. A chestnut tree with its companions. This is Haidu. Your name is Issei my little one she said with her eyes on the verge of tears. Issei. That's right ma'am and I know what you're going to say and no, I'm not the son of the boy I'm talking about, Riaz he said seriously. This is Haidu. What she said confused. Issei. What I hear is that I'm not who you think I am. Sanctuary outside the house of Ares. The remaining saints were only waiting for news of the Battle of Albafica. Manigoldo. Degel, I need your help, he said, appearing in front of the Saint of Aquarius. Degel. What's up, he said seriously. Gustav. She is not the flower girl, he said curiously. Manigoldo. If she stood in the way of an attack protecting Albafica, he said seriously. Aldebaran. What a brave girl, he said seriously. Manigoldo. Yes, whatever, I want you to see if he can be saved. He received a poisonous attack, he said seriously. Degel. Fine, come with me to my house, I'll see what I can do, he said, starting to run. Back to the village of Ridorio. Minos. Cosmic puppet, he said, throwing a kind of threads that held Albafica. Albafica. Boo, but I can't move my body, he said confused. Minos. Haha, what's wrong, you don't like my technique, when it starts nothing can stop it, now you are my puppet, he said, pulling a finger breaking Albafica's arm. Albafica. Madam, you won't get away with this, he said, trying to free himself. Minos. You know that you've already bored me, die, he said, pulling all the strings breaking Albafica's bones. Albafica. Ah, she gave a heart-rending scream before falling into a pool of blood. Minos. Well, see you next time, Pisces. I must admit that you are a beautiful man, he said seriously, starting to walk. Albafica. This will be my end, I was so weak, boo, sorry you hurt me, I thought, sadly remembering the time I met her. Flashback. The chestnut ran in the rain covering a group of flowers. Agasha. I must hurry up or he will be mistreated, he could not continue because someone put a cape on his head. Agasha. Gracia said, looking at the Pisces saint. Albafica. You must go back home or you will get sick, he said seriously, continuing on his way. Then flashback. Agasha. Up, Mr. Albafica, the girl's voice resonated in the saint's head. Albafica. Agasha. Minos was entering the village, causing fear among the villagers. Minos. He asked me if he killed them when the saints would arrive, he said seriously. I think you forget that our fight is not over, said a voice behind the specter. Minos Pisces, he said shocked. Albafica. So unhappy, it's time for your death, he said furiously. Minos. Seriously, my death, haha, what a good joke, he said seriously. Albafica. Well, I believe you made a serious mistake, and that is that I don't let anyone, I repeat, no one calls me beautiful, he said, releasing his cosmos. Minos. Come on, show me what you got, holy Pisces, he said seriously. Albafica. Crimson thorns, he said, throwing an endless number of red mini daggers. The specter covered itself with its wings, blocking the attack. Minos. It's the best you have, he said mockingly. Albafica. Who told you that the thorns were my plan? He said seriously. Minos. What are you talking about? He couldn't continue because he looked at his chest and a red rose was embedded in it. Minos. Madam, you used your real demonic rose, he said staggering. Albafica. You are wrong, that is a white rose, it turns red with your blood, but that blood is not yours but mine, a blood more poisonous than demonic roses, he said seriously. Minos. Ma. Damn you, Pisces. Albafica. He couldn't continue because he fell dead. Albafica. I think it's all over for me, he said, about to fall. Angel. Of course not, you still have pending things, he said calmly, holding the blue-haired boy. Albafica. Do you really believe that? He said weakly. Angel, when it comes to love, everything is possible. One mistake reveals everything. House of Pisces. The Saint of Leo laid his companion on a kind of bed. Albafica. Wow, how is she? He said worriedly. Gustav. I don't know, Degel is checking it, you should rest, he said seriously. Albafica. Of going to see her, he said, very hurt. Gustav, none of that, you must stay here without complaining, don't force me to stop you, he said seriously. Albafica. But he said worried. Gustav. You love her, right? He said dryly. Albafica. No, I don't know what you're talking about, he said looking away. Gustav. You don't have to hide it, everyone deserves to love and be loved, he said thoughtfully. Albafica. You know very well that I can't do that, he said sadly. Gustav. I think the opposite, it's not for nothing that she gave her life for you. I think she doesn't care about your poison, he said seriously. Albafica. I can really love, he said sadly. Athena. Of course, and you have to let go of that fear. Your poison can not only hurt, it can also help, said the purple-haired girl entering the place. Albafica. Goddess Athena, he said surprised. Patriarch. Athena is right, besides you have to rest, what if she recovers and you are all badly injured, you won't be able to protect her, so rest, he said seriously. Gustav. Also don't worry about the village Ridorio, I will protect it, he said with a big smile. Albafica. Thank you very much, thank you very much. Guo Hotel. We see the chestnut tree watching the sunset with a nostalgic look. Shina. Issei, are you okay, she said, worried about the brown-haired boy. Issei. If I only thought about what could have been, he said sadly. Uzureha. They were the ones who hurt you, right? She said sadly. Issei. If they were the ones who made me suffer, he said while a tear ran down his cheek. China. Although you don't believe that everything that happened to you was for your own good, she said, trying to liven up the atmosphere. Issei. You're right, if it hadn't been for them I would never have met Master Ioros, you and the boys, he said with a big smile. Uzureha. It's true, because we're not going to sleep tomorrow, we'll have a long day, she said yawning. Issei. If tomorrow we will have to look for the ghosts. Location unknown. We see the king of the underworld entering a strange castle, followed by his right hand Pandora and the judge of the underworld Radamanthys of Wyvern. What brings you here, Hades, said a very serious man while a helmet hid his face. Hades. Oh, why are you so hostile, nephew, and you are not happy to see me? He said calmly. To the point, he said seriously. Hades. Well, you see, Ares, I come here to seek your help to rule everything, including Olympus, he said with an evil smile. Ares? What the hell are you talking about? How will you get such a thing? He said seriously. Hades. Easy, with the help of other factions, since you have realized that for centuries we have tried to take the earth and Olympus, but there are always obstacles that prevent us from reaching the goal, so what if we use others to achieve our benefit, he said seriously. Ares. You say you are allied with someone outside the Olympians, he said seriously. Hades. That's right, but tell me, would you like an alliance? He said curiously. Ares. Sure, but with one condition, he said seriously. Hades. What could it be? He said curiously. Ares, the head of Zeus's mine. One day later. Temple of Poseidon under the sea. We see the ruler of the ocean sitting on his throne with a serious look. Poseidon. Zeus, can you hear me? He said mentally. Zeus. Poseidon is passing by, he said from Olympus. Poseidon. I know you're aware of what's going on between Athena and Hades, he said seriously. Zeus. Yes, and I'm worried about the fact that he joined the demons, he said seriously. Poseidon. Yes, and not only that, I know that Aria will be with them, he said worried. Zeus. This is impossible, that idiot will provoke a war similar to the Titanomachy, but between gods, he said worried. Poseidon. I know, and I know that you cannot intervene since you are the pillar of the seal in Tartarus, he said seriously. Zeus. If you already know, he said nervously. Poseidon. Don't worry, I'll do it. I won't let them do anything crazy, he said seriously. Zeus. You would really do that, he said nervously. Poseidon. Yes, and I want to make peace with Athena, so don't worry, he said, cutting off communication. My lord, what are you planning to do? Said a blonde girl in pink armor. Poseidon. Thetis calls the sea dragon, he said seriously. 5 minutes later. What do you want, my lord? Said a blue-haired man calmly. Poseidon. Canaan, I want you to go to the temple of Athena. Guo Academy Occult Club. We see Issei and his team along with the Gremory and Citri entourages. Issei. Well, tonight we will patrol the city, each entourage will be guarded by my companions, he said seriously. Zack. Because we are not children who do not need babysitters, he said angrily. Issei. So they don't kill you, animal, he said annoyed. Riaz. Zack, shut up, let him talk, he said, it would be bothering the brown-haired boy. Issei. Look, Hades is not someone who repeats things. This time, the specters will not hold back. They will kill you if you have the chance. So don't separate, don't try to act brave and listen to the saints at all times, understood, he said seriously. All. Understood, they said nervously while Zack did it with gritted teeth. Sona. Young Issei, you will go alone, she said nervously. Issei. If my rank is higher, don't worry, he said seriously. Riaz. At least someone should go with you, she said worriedly. Uzureha. This time I support you, Issei, you shouldn't take those risks alone, she said nervously. Issei. I already told you that I can't take care of this alone, he said seriously. China. Hi to Issei, you better, she couldn't continue because she brought her hand to her mouth, realizing her mistake to everyone's surprise. Riaz. So if it's you. Revealing the truth. Everything fell into a deep silence after what China said. Riaz. I say then it's you, said the redeed while shedding tears just like a Keno. Zack. So it was true, if it was you, damn it, he said with hatred. Issei. Well, I think it was just a matter of time before everything was revealed, but what does it matter, that's how it is, I am the one you called Haidu, Issei, but that doesn't matter anymore because this place and you don't mean anything to me anymore, he said seriously but staying calm. Riaz. Issei, why didn't you tell us it was you? She said, trying to calm down. Issei. Really, but if you know the answer. So the chestnut left, followed by his companions, leaving both entourages in shock. Outside the club. The chestnut leaned against a tree thoughtfully while the girls arrived with him. China. Issei, I'm sorry I didn't, what couldn't continue because Issei spoke. Issei. Don't worry, I'm not upset. Sooner or later this had to be known, and I think you've taken a weight off my shoulders, he said calmly, showing a warm smile that made the girl blush. Yuzuriha. Well then what do we do, she said curiously. Issei. We will continue with the plan, Yuzuriha, you with the Gremory and Shina with the Citri, understood, he said seriously. Both. Yes, they said determinedly. Issei. Well, it's time to hunt ghosts. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. Integra. But what happened here? She said incredulously, looking at the sanctuary. Xion. Hades, that happened, said the green-haired man appearing in front of her. El Cid. You're serious, Xion, he said a little surprised. Oko. Yes, the bastard came and attacked the sanctuary alone, but he also sent his specters to attack us, he said with disgust. Xion. And how did it go, he said curiously. Integra. Here is the Pegasus armor, she said, showing the cloth. Athena. How wonderful the Pegasus armor is, said the purple-haired girl appearing next to the Patriarch. Patriarch. From what I can see the armor is in good condition, isn't it, he said seriously. El Cid. Yes, we were able to check the state of the armor and it is intact, he said seriously. Patriarch. Well, we must look for the bearer of the armor, he said thoughtfully. Athena. I know who it is, and even if you don't believe it, the bearer is a demon, she said it would be, shocking everyone. Xion. Athena is serious, he said incredulously. Athena. Yes, I could feel his presence when we went to the meeting, he said it would be. El Cid. And what is your name? He said curiously. Athena. Milica's Gremory. 2 days later. Things have been calm in both Greece and Japan, not counting the fact that Riaz has tried to get closer to Issei, but he always ignores her, and things got worse when the Haidu found out that the brunette was their son. House of Aquarius. Gustav. Degel, here is Albafica as you asked, said the brown-haired man, helping the blue-haired man to walk. Degel. Well, your presence here is of the utmost importance, said the green-haired man seriously. Albafica. Degel, what's happening, how is Agasha, he said weakly. Degel. He is stable, but I need to create a serum to counteract the toxin, otherwise he could end up in an induced coma, he said seriously. Albafica. What do you need? I'll get it for you, he said alarmed. Degel. What I need is easy to get and you can give it to me, he said seriously. Albafica. What is it, tell me, he said curiously. Degel. Your blood. Hades Castle Underworld. Hades. I'm glad you're here, he said seriously, looking at 2 men, one blonde and the other black-haired. Thanatos. Why has my lord Hades called us? Said the black-haired man curiously. Hades. I want you to start moving your pieces against Athena, he said seriously. Hypnos. My lord, does he have a destination or an exact point where we should attack? Said the curious blonde. Hades. Yes, easy, I would like them to kill the son of the Mao Lucifer, he said with an evil smile. Twin gods. As my lord Hades commands, they said seriously, disappearing from the place. Hades. I won't let Athena have the Pegasus Saint. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. Canaan. Nice to see you, saints of Athena, he said seriously. Aldebaran. Sea dragon Canaan, that one of Poseidon's marine generals is doing around here, said the curious bull. Canaan. I have an urgent message for the goddess Athena, he said seriously. Athena. It must be urgent if Poseidon sent his strongest general to see me, she said, appearing with other aspiring knights. Canaan. That's right, goddess Athena, what is happening is very serious, he said it would be. Athena. Tell me, do you know anything about what Hades is doing? She said it would be. Canaan. He is allying himself with other Olympian gods not only to dominate the world but to overthrow Zeus, he said seriously. Athena. You're crazy. Guo City, Japan. Issei. What's happening, because I have this tightness in my chest, he said seriously. Zack. So the good-for-nothing was still alive, he said, appearing behind Issei. Issei. What do you want, Zack, he said dryly. Zack. It's not obvious to give you a lesson to continue showing who's in charge, he said, the booster gear appearing. Issei. You know, I don't care about any of that, you, your family, your mistress, none of that matters to me anymore. I have a real family, someone who showed me what I always lacked here. You don't have to worry about me. As soon as this mission ends I'm out of here, he said seriously. Zack. Oh yeah, now learn your place, trash, he said, throwing a punch with his armor activated. Greg. Kid, you signed your death warrant, the voice in Zack's head echoed. Issei to my Sagittarius. Underworld Gremory Castle. We still see a little red-haired boy playing quietly with his mother. Milica's. Mom, when will I be able to see one of those saints of Athena? He said curiously. Raphia. I don't know, son, they are in a war now, they don't have time for friendly visits, said the silver-haired girl calmly. Raphia. Who are you, said Alert. Sorry, I don't have time for introductions. I just came for him, he said, holding the reed. Raphia. Milica's. Supernatural problems. A silver-haired girl ran with tears in her eyes to where Zodiac was. Grafia. They took Milika, she said with tears. Zodiac. What are you talking about? He said upset. Grafia. A damn girl in dark armor took my baby, she screamed in despair. Zodiac. But how did it happen? He said, trying to hold back his tears. Patriarch. I think I can tell you. Kuo, Japan. Two beings collided forcefully, but one of the red armor was more broken. Zack. Come on, you damn lizard, give me more power, he said, annoyed. Greg. Are you stupid or what, he said seriously. Zack. What the hell are you talking about, he said, annoyed. Greg. You don't understand, brat, you'll never be able to defeat the Saint of Sagittarius, he said seriously. Riaz. But what the hell is going on here? She said, appearing next to Sona, her entourage and the two silver saints. Issei. Your Gremory dear that for no reason started attacking, I just defended myself, he said seriously. Riaz. What the hell is wrong with you, Zack, she said angrily. Zack. Shut up, these people showing who is superior, she said angrily. Zenobia. Don't talk to Butchu like that, she said annoyed. Zack. Shut up, Hitch, when I defeat you those two will also be my poo. He couldn't continue because Issei stuck his fist in his chest. Issei. You can say whatever you want to the Gremory entourage, but I will never let you insult them, he said with a look of anger, making Riaz and her entourage feel bad and making the Santos blush. Zack. Wow, how did you get so strong, he said, spitting blood. Issei. I achieved this thanks to my family and friends, he said seriously, giving him a kick that sent him flying. China thanks Issei, she said blushing. Issei. It's nothing, Volva. He couldn't continue because a magic circle appeared revealing Zodiac, Grafia and the Gremory patriarchs with the patriarch. Riaz. Nai-sama, what's wrong, she said worried when she saw Grafia and her mother with tears. Patriarch. One of Hypno's sons kidnapped young Milikas, said the serious man. Issei. Patriarch, why would they do such an action that would make the specters and Hades win with it, he said, kneeling next to his companions. Patriarch. Everything points to it being a kidnapping, so that the demons break ties with us, but unfortunately that is not the case, he said seriously. Uzureha. Then what is the reason, she said confused. Patriarch. Young Milikas is the saint of Pegasus. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. We see a purple-haired girl in shock after what the Marine General said. Athena. This can't be possible. Hades wants a war between gods. He's crazy, she said frustrated. Gustav. I know it's hard to believe that we're in this situation, but we have to analyze our options, he said seriously. Hanan. I agree with the Saint of Leo, we must be prepared for what is coming, he said seriously. Athena. Yes, I think we need to be ready. Degel, you and Cardia, I would like you to go with Mr. Kanan to get something important, she said it would be. Degel. Cardia. As you command, he said kneeling. El Cid. Goddess Athena, I am ready to leave for Ku, he said seriously. Athena. Good luck, to your best, she said it would be. So everyone present at the meeting left a purple-haired girl next to a brown-haired boy. Athena. You are very thoughtful, she said, trying to calm down. Gustav. It's nothing, I'm just wondering how things are going for Issei, he said seriously. The brown-haired boy began to walk towards the exit, but the goddess stopped him. Athena. Please don't lie to me. I'm not asking you as a goddess, I'm asking you as Sasha, she said with a broken voice. Gustav. It's nothing, I already told you, he said seriously. Athena. Enough, it's for her, it's not like that, it's for Pandora, screams with tears. Gustav. And if it was because of her, I was stupid and never kept my promise, he said helplessly. Athena. And I don't matter, she said with pain. Gustav. You are my goddess, my duty is to protect. He couldn't continue because Athena interrupted him. Athena. Stop seeing me as your goddess, I love you. Guo Academy, Japan. We can see everyone gathered in the occult club, well they had a look of shock and seriousness save Zack, who was lying unconscious on the floor. Issei. I can't believe it, the Pegasus Saint is a demon, he said seriously. China. I must admit that it is impressive, never before had a supernatural being been a saint, she said thoughtfully. Patriarch. That is not important now, the most important thing is to rescue him, he said seriously. Issei. That's right, and that's why El Cid will come, he said curiously. Patriarch. That's right, he is the most suitable for the mission, and as soon as we get him we will take him to the sanctuary, he said seriously. Zodiac. But what are you saying? They are not going to take my son away from me, he said annoyed. Patriarch. I respect your decision, Malu Lucifer, but realize that the specters will put the underworld in danger, trying to capture your son or worse kill him, he said seriously, causing a shiver in the redeed. Grafia. And what will they do with my son in the sanctuary of Athena, she said nervously. Patriarch. Make him a saint. Unknown location. We can see strange door-shaped portals, and two ghosts were looking at one of them. Excellent work Phantasos, this will make Mr. Hypnos happy said the albino. Phantasos. Thanks Aneros, I hope you are having a sweet dream he said happily. Aneros. Of course he said without flinching. Inside the door. We see a little red-headed boy slowly opening his eyes as he looks at his mother. Milikas. Mom, where is that woman? He said nervously. Rafia. Son, what are you talking about? She said confused. Milikas. The specter he said nervously. Rafia. Son of a hitch, what the hell are you talking about? The war against Hades is over, they even won, even Rias and the Saint of Sagittarius are going to get married, she said happily. Milikas. What he said without understanding. Issei. Milikas Grafia hello he said entering with Rias. Grafia. Guys, I wasn't expecting your visit, but it's nice to see you she said, hugging the couple. Milikas. What's going on? The dull sword. Greek underworld Hades castle. We see the king of the underworld sitting on his throne in front of a blue-haired woman with a golden apple at her side. Hades. So what did you think about what I said? He said seriously looking at the woman. Eris. Then it would be just the three of us she said it would be. Hades. Regarding Greek culture, yes, you, Ares and I, but we will also have allies from other factions he said seriously while the woman smiled. Eris. We have a deal Hades. Goo City. We see the Gremory and Citri entourages alongside Surzich looking at the saints and their patriarch. Surzich. Here we wait he said nervously. Patriarch. Calm down Mau Lucifer, don't be desperate he said calmly. Surzich. I know but we are talking about my son he said worried. El Cid. I'm here, Patriarch said the Capricorn knight in normal clothes and his armor on his cloth. Issei. Hello friend, how are things over there? He said, bumping fists with the black-haired man. El Cid. More or less with a recent visit from Hades things are tense he said with his typical cold tone. Issei. Yes, the Patriarch has already informed us he said worriedly. Patriarch. Well Mau Lucifer, he is the Cid of Capricorn, he will be in charge of finding his son he said seriously. El Cid. I don't want anyone to intervene so have your people on a mission to remove it he said seriously. Surzich. Oh okay he said nervously. At that moment the black-haired man opened his cloth while showing his armor and covering him. Issei. How is your sword? He said seriously. El Cid. Incomplete he said without further ado, going at great speed. Zenobia. Say excuse me young Issei, what sword are you referring to? She said confused. Issei. The Capricorn knights are said to inherit the power of Excalibur and can use their arms as a sword he said seriously. Irina. So he has the power of Excalibur she said in shock as did Zenobia and Kiba. Kiba. But that's impossible. Excalibur was destroyed and from its remains emerged different swords he said seriously. Patriarch. That Excalibur was an imitation created by the biblical god, but the original was carried by the goddess Athena in the mythological era and she gave it to her most faithful knight, the original Capricorn he said seriously, surprising everyone. Zenobia. If that's true, why does he say that his sword is incomplete she said confused. Issei. He feels that his power is not yet worthy of being called Excalibur he said seriously. Issei. But it's close. World of Dreams. We can see the door where Milikas is sealed. Milikas. Really everything is over he said confused seeing how everything was peaceful and quiet. Rafia. Son, can't you sleep? Said the silver-haired girl entering her room. Milikas. No Okasama just wanted to see the scenery for a while before going to sleep she said, trying to sound credible. Rafia. Okay, but don't take too long to go to bed. Tomorrow we'll spend the whole day as a family since your dad finished his paperwork she said happily, closing the door. Milikas. Impossible, that could never happen, Dad's paperwork never ends he said seriously. At that moment the Redeed could see a group of stars in the sky that formed a peculiar figure. Milikas. Pegasus. Out in the dream world. Aneros. It seems that Athena didn't waste any time he said seriously while looking through a portal seeing Capricorn fighting with some specters. Phantasos. What are we going to do then? Said the woman appearing behind the albino. Aneros. We will go visit that saint. Osaka, Japan. We see the black-haired man running through the forest while eliminating the soldiers of the underworld. El Cid. It's possible that they were the ones who kidnapped the boy he said thoughtfully. What is a saint of Athena doing so far from his goddess? Said a being with a crazy face while three other beings appeared. El Cid. So if they were Akelos of the bestial manifestation he said seeing the being that spoke to him. El Cid. Phantasos of fantasy he said looking at the woman. El Cid. Aneros leader of the minor gods of sleep said seeing the albino. El Cid. And Morpheus the sculptor of the four gods of sleep he said, seeing the last of them who was the most corpulent. Aneros. I'm sorry about my partner's behavior, he's very anxious, he said respectfully. Pantassos. I must say he is very handsome, she said in a flirtatious manner. Mikelos. What are we waiting for? We have to kill him, he said seriously. El Cid. The only one who will die will be you, he said, launching a powerful cut with his cosmos. The attack went straight towards Mikelos, but he didn't even flinch because out of nowhere the attack disappeared. El Cid. But what, he said incredulously. Mikelos. Surprise Goldenkin, he said mockingly. El Cid said nothing and launched several cuts at all the gods of sleep, but no attack hit the target and they all disappeared. Mikelos. Come on, try again, he said mockingly. The black-haired man without hesitation launched a final cut, stretching out his hand. Mikelos. You fell, he said as the space around him distorted. The distortion ate up the attack as a new distortion opened up beside Cid, cutting off his arm. Aneros. That was very easy, it's time to go, he said seriously, opening one end of the portal. Pantassos. I think I'll keep it as a souvenir, he said, enclosing his arm in a capsule. So the four of them entered the portal, leaving a Capricorn bleeding to death. 1 hour later. World of Dreams. We can see each god of sleep in their respective underworld while Pantassos looked in detail at the saint's arm. Pantassos. Oh poor Capricorn, your fate was sad, but that happened because you were on the wrong side, he said while walking through his world with his arm. Clink. A strange noise echoed through the place. Pantassos. What is that, she said looking at a strange golden X above her. At that moment the black-haired man appeared with his typical cold and serious look. Pantassos. Capricorn. Saving the Pegasus. World of Dreams. We see Capricorn Zid looking at Pantassos with his typical cold expression. Pantassos. Wow, you used your arm as a gateway to the world of dreams, you were fascinating, he said with a calm smile. El Cid remained silent in the face of what the creator of fantasies had said. Pantassos. You will remain silent, well I don't care, let's have fun, he said launching into the attack. El Cid quickly prepared his arm to launch an attack, but Pantassos moved quickly and placed a hand on his chest and took out a purple ball. Pantassos. Oh don't worry, this won't show you, it will only put you in your most desired fantasy, he said happily. Morphia Dream World. We see the Redeed quite tense because his life had not the slightest idea of what was happening. Raphia. My little one, what's wrong, why are you like this, this is not what you always dreamed of, said the happy woman. Milikas. No, this is not right, what is happening, wait, what did you say, he said confused. Raphia. This was not what you always dreamed of, she said without losing her smile. Milikas. A dream, he said seriously. I see you noticed, said a voice in the head. Milikas. Who are you? He said nervously, watching as his mother and everything around him stopped. Everything around you is not real, he said seriously. Milikas. What's happening, show me, he said scared. Back here boy, said the voice. The Redeed turned around and saw a Pegasus flying towards him. Milikas. A Pegasus. Sanctuary of Athena. The golden saints watched as the Pegasus armor began to resonate and at any moment the armor would fly away. Meanwhile we see a black-haired woman in a kimono and a katana slowly walking down the 12 houses while watching the armor shoot into the sky. Don't worry my beloved sword, help is on the way. World of Dreams. We see Pantassos somewhat worried when she sees that the black-haired boy's perfect dream was a dark world. Pantassos. I see it, wait, this is a sword, she said incredulously seeing how it came out of her and cut her. El Cid. I have no other dream, there is no other desire in my heart other than to become the perfect sword, he said seriously as he stood up. Pantassos. Damn, how dare you ruin my image, he said with a distorted voice that slowly turned into a man's. El Cid. So this is your true form, he said seriously while looking at Pantassos with a man's appearance. Pantassos. I will kill you, he said launching himself into the attack. El Cid. You are no match for me, he said, grabbing onto his side while making a cut with his arm, cutting Pantassos in half. Thus the saint continued on his way until after a few minutes he managed to see his next rival. Mikelos. I see that stupid Pantassos couldn't take care of you, said the ruler of nightmares. El Cid. You will end up the same, he said, making a cut. Mikelos. You lost your arm and you're still just as stupid, he said, his attack disappearing with the dimensions. El Cid did not care and continued launching attacks that did not worry the Spectre since the attacks did not reach their destination, but the attacks returned to him, causing some damage to the saint. Mikelos. Soon everything will end with your stupid death, you disgusting saint, he said, lunging at him using his ability to disappear and appear in different places. El Cid. In the end you were the stupid one, he said turning around and throwing a slash hitting Mikelos squarely. Morphia. Aneros. Mikelos and Pantassos fell soon, he said seriously looking at Morpheus. Morpheus. It won't go any further, he said seriously. El Cid. That's what they think, he said seriously while they both watched as the saint walked slowly in their direction. Morpheus. I notice you are very arrogant, Capricorn, he said seriously. Cid. Let's stop talking, just give me the boy and this will be over, he said seriously. Veneros. Wow, how interesting, you got this far, you killed 2 of my brothers and now you come here wanting to negotiate, how funny, he said seriously. Morpheus. I'm not going to negotiate, he'll kill you, he couldn't continue because a great light illuminated the place. Veneros. What is that? He said incredulously. The light disappeared, revealing a gleaming platinum blue armor. Cid. Pegasus, he said incredulously. The armor began to resonate as the portal where the redeed was began to crack. Veneros. Impossible, he said as the portal broke and the boy fell unconscious. Cid began to run towards the boy. Veneros. Morpheus, hurry up and don't let him take it, he said, upset. So the sculptor began to run to capture the boy again. Clink. One cuts quickly in front of Morpheus, killing him instantly. Veneros. Impossible, he said incredulously watching his last brother fall. Wow, I can't believe it lasted so little, I'm surprised by the sharpness of my sword, said the woman putting away her sword. Cid. Impossible, mine, he said a little surprised looking at the woman. Mine. It's been a while, Cid, she said with a flirtatious smile. Cid. What are you doing here? He said seriously. Mine. I came to help you, she said happily. Veneros. I will kill them. Siberia, Russia. We see the saints of Scorpion and Aquarius being guided by Canaan. Cardia. Where are we going, he said with disgust. Egil. Stop complaining and hurry up, he said seriously. Cardia tsk annoyed giggle while following both of them. Canaan. We're here, he said seriously as they saw a huge door with a trident. Cardia. What is this place, he said seriously. Egil. The entrance, he said seriously at the blue-haired man's confusion. Canaan. The entrance to Atlantis. Path of a saint. The Capricorn saint looked at the rupture created by his partner while the last of the brothers slept. Mine. We must get the boy out of here, she said seriously. Veneros. They think they can stop me when my brothers fall, they will return to give me their power, he said seriously while 3 spheres joined him and his body grew. Capricorn. We must leave no matter what happens, he said seriously, jumping and kicking him hard, beginning to push the god. Veneros. Damn Capricorn, you're trying to get us out of the dimension, he couldn't continue because the Pegasus armor also began to push him and managed to expel him. Cid. Mine said worriedly looking at the entrance to the dream world. Mine. Calm down, I'm here, she said calmly while she had the soldiers in her hands. Veneros. Damn Capricorn, you and the Pegasus will pay for this, he said furiously, increasing his cosmos. Cid. Come on, try it, he said, throwing a cut that didn't do much damage. Veneros. You don't understand, Saint of Athena, I am above you and any saint, he said furiously. Issei. I really want to check that out, he said seriously behind everyone. Cid. Issei, he said in shock. Issei. Hi Cid, do you mind if I help you? He said seriously. Mine. Hello Sagittarius, she said happily. Issei. Hello mine, take care of the boy, he said seriously raising his cosmos. Cid. Issei, I'm not much use anymore, my attacks are almost useless and I've already lost my arm, he said tired and on his knees. Issei. What the hell are you talking about? Don't give me nonsense. You still have to keep fighting because you are not just a simple sword like anyone else, because you are already Excalibur, he said seriously as he stretched out his hand towards his partner. Cid. I am Excalibur, he said thoughtfully. Issei. That's right, you're Excalibur, he said decisively, lifting the black-haired man. Thus both companions got into a battle pose raising their cosmos. Veneros. They don't understand, they will never be able to defeat me, he said, launching a powerful attack. The saints managed to dodge the attack with seriousness while preparing their attacks. Issei. Atomic thunder, he said launching his attack damaging the god a little. Veneros. Hahaha, his attacks are useless, the power of my brothers makes me unstoppable, he couldn't continue because the Cid appeared in front of him, cutting him into several parts. Cid. You were too confident, he said seriously. Veneros. Damn you, you split my body into 4, he said incredulously. Issei. Idiot, you didn't think that I would just attack you with my atomic thunder just like that, he said launching his attack, but this time more powerful. The attack caused much more damage to the god than last time. Veneros. I already said I will not lose against you, he shouted furiously raising his power. Issei. That bastard is thinking of committing suicide, he said nervously. Veneros. That's right and I'll take them with me, he said starting to move. Cid. Issei, shoot your arrow, he said seriously. The brown-haired boy only listened, firing his most powerful attack at the god. Cid. This is over, feel the power of Excalibur, he said cutting the arrow in 4. The arrow pieces followed their direction, but this time each part hit a specific point. The arrows. Impossible, they managed to damage each one of our souls, screamed before exploding in the sky. El Cid. It's this nightmare is over, he said, tired. Issei. Correct, you managed to defeat the 4 gods of sleep, he said, helping Capricorn to stay standing. El Cid. Yes, but I didn't do it alone, you and mine helped me achieve this victory, even Pegasus helped, he said weakly. Issei. Well, that doesn't matter. The important thing is that now you deserve a good rest and that you recover from what happened to your hand, he said happily. El Cid. Well, for the first time I think you're right, he said tiredly, but with a slight smile. Mine. And don't worry, I'll take care of you, she said flirtatiously. Issei. Wow Cid, you already have a suitor and I'm all alone, he said, pretending to cry. El Cid. Shut your mouth, Sagittarius. You'll stop being alone when you stop being so blind, he said seriously and angrily. Issei. What are you talking about, he said confused. El Cid. Forget it, blind man. 2 days later. Gremory Cool residence. The Gremory were more than happy after the rescue of Milikas, they did not know how to reward the Cid for his work. Patriarch. Well, with the boy, it's time for us to take him, he said seriously. Graphia. No please, as soon as I get my son back don't take him away from me again, she said sadly. Milika's mom, what are you talking about, he said confused. Issei. Boy, you are the saint of Pegasus, and you are a fundamental part of this war, he said seriously. Milika's he's serious, he said incredulously. Issei. That's right, and you better be ready, he said seriously. Milika's. Okay, he said nervously. Graphia. Milika's screamed worriedly like the redeed. Milika's. Mom, during that time that I was in that place I had several visions related to the Pegasus and I want to know more about that, he said a little nervously. Issei. Okay kid, that's the attitude, he said calmly. Patriarch. Take this, he said, giving a paper to the silver-haired girl. Graphia. And what is this? She said sadly without understanding, seeing that it was a paper with strange symbols. Patriarch. Put a little magic on it and it will take you to the sanctuary to visit your son, he said seriously. Graphia. Thank you very much, she said more relieved. 3 hours later. Issei and company were ready to leave while being watched by the Gremory and Citri clan. Sona. Issei, thank you for helping us with the specters, she said calmly. Issei. It's nothing, stay alert, he said calmly. Riaz. Issei, she couldn't continue because Issei interrupted her. Issei. Gremory, you and I have nothing to talk about, he said seriously while causing great pain to the redeed. Surzich. Good luck son, he said sadly. Milikas. Odo-san, Oka-san, take care of yourselves, he said a little nervously. So everyone got on the plane, leaving the group of demons with different feelings. Issei. Get ready kid, it's time to become a saint. The Knight of Pegasus is born. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. We see how the Issei and company returned to the sanctuary with Milikas being the one who received all the attention from the people. Athena. Hello Milikas, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am the goddess Athena, she said kindly. Milikas. A pleasure goddess Athena, it will be an honor to fight in your name, she said timidly while kneeling. Athena. I hope you achieve great things, she said kindly while lifting the little one. Issei. Goddess Athena, I would like to have the honor of training the future saint of Pegasus, he said determinedly. Athena. Well, Issei, you will become his teacher. I hope for good results, she said calmly. Patriarch. Goddess Athena, the children of Hypnos have been eliminated, he said seriously. Athena. It's good news and thank you for your work Cid, now you can rest and see the state of your wound, she said calmly, while the Cid nodded and left with his companion. Thus the other saints departed to their different places, leaving Issei and Milikas alone. Issei. Here, he said, giving her some strange clothes. Milikas. What is this for? He said confused. Issei. It's training clothes, you won't think it will start with the armor, you need to learn the basic principles of the cosmos, or better known as the sixth sense, he said seriously. Milikas. Okay, he said putting on his clothes. Issei. Ready because this will be hell. Bluegrad, Siberia. The saints of Scorpio and Aquarius were in a large library in front of a wall with a trident symbol. Cardia. I can't believe that we can actually get to Atlantis here, he said, impressed. That's right, very few people know this, so let's keep it a secret, said an albino boy next to a girl. Egil. Unity, Serafina, how long? He said with a slight smile, hugging both boys. Cardia. Acquaintances of yours, he said, curious and more so to see the saint smile. Egil. That's right, they are childhood friends while I was training to become a saint, he said happily. Serafina. Yes, and I see that you did it and you also became very handsome, she said happily, blushing at the aquarium. Hanan. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have to hurry, he said seriously. I'm sorry, but I can't let you get to Poseidon, said a voice behind them. Everyone turned around looking at a specter in large dark armor with overwhelming power. Hanan. Rhadamanthys of Wyvern, the celestial star of fury and one of the 3 judges of the underworld, he said seriously, releasing his cosmos. Rhadamanthys. Oh wow, it's something that the most powerful marine general of Poseidon knows me, he said calmly, but with a crazy look. Cardia. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you must guide my partner through the marine temple of Poseidon, he said seriously. Egil. Cardia, what are you talking about, he said seriously. Cardia. It's not obvious that this is what a big prey wanted, he said, releasing his cosmos frantically. Egil. General Kanan, we have to go, he said seriously. Kanan. Are you sure about this? He said, looking at the Scorpion Saint. Egil. He knows what he's doing, and when something gets into his head he won't change his mind, he said seriously. Kanan. Well then let's go, he said, opening the door. So the 4 of them entered through the great door, leaving the saint and the ghost alone. Cardia, let's play. Chichen Itza, Yucatan, Mexico. The beautiful woman looked at the pyramid, watching a feathered serpent descend from the heavens. Thank you for answering my call, Quetzalcoatl. Sanctuary of Athena. We can see Issei watching a tired Milikas sitting on the floor. Issei. You really got tired, he said curiously. Milikas. Do you really believe that? 1,000 squats, 550 push-ups and running almost 2 kilometers, what do you think? He said tiredly. Issei. Wow, the demons are very lazy, well let's go with something easier, he said heavily. Milikas. What a thing, he said nervously. Issei. See that rock, he said, pointing to a rather large stone. Milikas. She doesn't want me to carry her, or does she, he said nervously. Issei. No, calm down, he said calmly. Milikas. Thank goodness, he said relieved. Issei. I want you to destroy it with your own hands without using any kind of magic power, he said seriously. Milikas. WHATTT. Issei. No, take your time, he said seriously, starting to walk. The brown-haired boy walked away as the boy began to hit the rock in frustration. Issei. Gustav, what's up, he said, seeing his friend on top of a mountain. Gustav. Ah, Issei, you're back, he said confused. Issei. Hey, are you okay, he said confused, looking distractedly at the other brown-haired boy. Gustav. No, I'm not okay, everything in my head is chaos, he said nervously. Issei. But since you are usually the most focused of all, he said curiously. Gustav. Issei, do you remember that I told you about a friend from my childhood that I left to follow Athena? He said thoughtfully. Issei. Yes, of course, her name was Pandora, yes, that was her name, right? He said curiously while his friend nodded. Gustav. Yes, she turned out to be Hades's right hand, and she also hates me for preferring Athena instead of her, confessing that she loved me, he said with his head down. Issei. You're serious, but when did that happen? He said incredulously. Gustav. A few days ago Hades attacked the sanctuary, and that's when we saw each other, but that's not all, he said tiredly. Issei. Let's see what else, he said curious and interested. Gustav. The goddess Athena, Sasha, she loves Mimi, he said nervously. Issei, what, screaming in disbelief. Gustav. As you hear it, I really don't know what to think, he said distressed. Flash. The brown-haired boy slapped him hard, surprising the lion. Issei. You are a golden saint, you know how to act in wars, and most of the time you are the one who gives love advice, now put that advice into practice, he said seriously. Gustav. Boo, but couldn't continue because. Crash. The loud noise caught his attention, and he looked at the reed covered in blue energy, and the rock was shattered. Issei. I did it, he said incredulously. Gustav. And who is that? He said confused. Milikas. I will be a saint. Scorpion versus Wyvern. We see Issei and his partner in front of an agitated and very tired Milikas. Issei. I can't believe he was able to release his cosmos so quickly, he said in disbelief. Gustav. So this is the Pegasus prospect, and he is also an interesting demon, he said, seeing how the boy detected his presence. Milikas. Issei-sensei, I got it, he said, falling to the floor. Issei. You will be a great knight. Belgorod, Siberia. We see the Scorpion Knight in front of the Judge of Hell, Rhadamanthys. Rhadamanthys. I don't have time. Great caution, he said furiously, launching a powerful cosmos attack directly at the Golden One. Cardia. Very slow, he said behind him, launching a cut with his needle that could be dodged by very little, cutting a part of the structure of the place. Rhadamanthys. Let's have fun, Goldenkin, he said, releasing a gust of air with his wings. Cardia. If this is what I wanted, a real challenge worth giving my life for, he said, releasing more cosmos. Rhadamanthys. I will not be made a fool of by a stupid golden saint, he said, furiously launching another powerful attack that hit the saint squarely. The attack sent him flying, slamming him into a wall. Rhadamanthys. That's what happens to you, you'll never be at the level of a spec. He couldn't continue because he felt some twinges in some parts of his body with some red dots on the armor. Partia. It seems that you were too confident, Wyvern, he said mockingly. Radamanthys. Ma damn you did to me, he said in pain. Partia. I just gave you a few small stings from the scorpion, he said mockingly. At that point the pain at the points on the spectrum became more unbearable. Partia. Let's play a little, shall we? Guo City, Japan. We see Ria's in front of her group with a very upset Zack, while the other members of the group had a sad face. Bekeno. Ria's, are you sure, she said nervously. Ria's. Of course, I already told my parents and they gave me permission to do it, she said determinedly. Zack. Seriously, you prefer that idiot to me, he said with annoyance. Ria's. Shut up, Zack, you know very well who is better of the two, it is your problem not to accept it, she said coldly. Zack. And you think he's going to forgive you after humiliating you when we were kids, he said mockingly. Ria's. The truth is no, but I will fight to earn his forgiveness and be able to be with him, you will see, because he is not trash like you, she said coldly. Zack. How did I get? He couldn't continue because someone interrupted him. Zenobia. Shut your damn mouth once and for all, you don't know how much you disgust me, I don't know how I could have noticed you, and you know what, now I realize that you're not worth it, she said seriously, also leaving the brown-haired boy silent when she noticed the disgusted looks of her companions. Ria's. Well, I have to go now, Akeno, you're in charge until I get back, she said calmly. Akeno. Of course you can trust me, she said hugging the Redeed. Ria's. Well, see you later, take care, she said, turning around and starting to walk. Kaneko. Good luck but you, she said in her monotonous tone. Kiba. I hope I manage to talk to Issei, he said a little sadly. Asia. Take care, she said worriedly. Akeno. Ria's, I hope Issei can forgive you, she thought sadly. Ria's. Issei, I will win your heart no matter what it takes. Belligerent Siberia. The great library shook as both combatants continued to fight with great fury without retreating. Partia, haha, you are the best prey there can be, you make my heart burn like never before, he said mockingly. Radamanthys. His heart releases a great amount of cosmos and heat, I have never seen this before, he said confused. Partia. Come on, don't make this easier, don't stay still, she said appearing behind him. Radamanthys. Puig madam, with these there are already 14 bites, he said, stunned by the poison of the bites. Partia. That's right, 14 scarlet needles, but now comes the most powerful one, the fiery scarlet needle Antares, he said seriously, while his fingers seemed to burn with fire, and the scorpion constellation appeared behind him, with the star of the scorpion's tail shining brightly. Radamanthys. TSK, I won't lose to someone like you. I'm a proud spectre, a judge of hell, the elite of specters, and I won't be defeated by a disgusting gold saint, he said furiously. Partia. Oh, what a great speech, if you already died. He could not continue because Radamanthys appeared in front of him holding his hand and closing his fist. Radamanthys. Well, I think the scorpion has lost its stinger, he said, squeezing Cardia's fist tightly, sending him to the ground. Radamanthys. Unlike you, I can launch my techniques even without the need for my arms, so die now, great caw. He couldn't finish because Cardia smiled maliciously. Cardia. And who said that my technique was a one-armed burning scarlet needle, he said, throwing the needle with his left hand hitting Radamanthys' heart. Radamanthys. Damn you, you used only your right hand to make me trust you, he said, falling to his knees. Cardia. Yes, I thought it was a pretty simple and stupid plan, but hey, it worked, she said agitatedly. Radamanthys. You were a skilled scorpion, I admit it, he said, falling to the ground with force. Cardia smiled calmly as she walked out of the place looking at the cold bloodred landscape. Cardia. No, I can't believe that Dejul likes this place. I think it matches his personality, he said, smiling but breathing heavily. Cardia. I think my time has come, but I couldn't say goodbye to you, little Athena, he thought wearily. You will not die today, Cardia, said a woman in a somewhat provocative outfit holding the golden scorpion by the chin. Cardia. What are you doing here, Calvera? Baning the armor. Bluegrad, Siberia. We can see Cardia being thrown by Calvera into a lake of frozen water, leaving the woman's action very confused. Cardia. What's wrong with you? He said coming out of the lake. Calvera. How do you feel? She said calmly. Cardia. Huh? He said confused. Calvera. Your heart is getting cold, stay inside, he said seriously. Cardia. Ah, you did it to help me, thank you, he said somewhat embarrassed as he returned to the air. Calvera. That's why I'm here to help you. 14 hours later. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. We can see the brown-haired man watching the red-haired man in a kind of arena where there were several prospective knights, the golden saints and the goddess herself, along with the patriarch in the Pegasus armor. Issei. Well soldiers, you must face a warrior and defeat him to earn the Pegasus armor, you understand, he said seriously. Milikas. Yes, and I'm ready, he said seriously. Athena. Well, young soldier, as I see that you are ready for your battle for the Pegasus armor, I ask the Saint of Leo Gustav to step forward, she said seriously. At that moment the saint advanced while all the prospective knights worried about the redeed, who opened his eyes in astonishment. Milikas P. I'll fight against a golden saint, he said somewhat scared. Gustav. Come on little one, show me what you have, I promise I won't be so rude, he said amused. Patriarch. Start, he said seriously. Quickly, Milikas moved at high speed trying to hit him, but his fist was stopped without much effort by the saint, who did not seem worried. In the distance you could see a redeed who was watching everything from afar so as not to be seen, but that wasn't much help. Integra. She knows the trouble she could get into for being a supernatural being who invaded an important place for the factions, said the Gemini saint quite seriously. Rias. I'm sorry, I didn't know, she said nervously and very embarrassed. Integra. And could we know what the Grimoire heiress is doing in the sanctuary, she said seriously. Rias. I came so I could talk to Issei and visit my nephew, she said nervously. Integra. I see, he should have warned us before coming, she said seriously. Rias. Yes, I'm sorry, she said sadly. Integra puff, it doesn't matter anymore, follow me and stay out of it, don't do anything impudent, he said seriously. So the two of them began to walk towards the battle arena, managing to see soldiers on the ground. Gustav. I think you should give up, it seems you are not worthy of being a saint, much less a Pegasus, he said seriously, looking at the boy on the floor. Issei. Come on guys, let's go up, he said from his seat. Milikas Issei sensei, I'm sorry, I don't think I have what it takes to be a saint, he said weakly. Gustav. I see you're giving up, right? He said seriously. Milikas. Yes, I think that if I don't have a power like yours or Issei's, he said from the floor. Gustav. Well, now I will show you what will happen with your decision, he said, touching the redeed's head. At that moment the redeed was in some desolate place, but he could see a long line of people throwing themselves into a bottomless precipice. Gustav. We are on Yamatsu Hill, the place where souls go before reaching the underworld, he said seriously. Milikas. And what do we do, he said confused. Gustav. We are here to be able to see what your actions of giving up look like, he said seriously. At that moment the redeed could see his parents, aunt and grandparents walking towards the precipice with a lost look and with their clothes worn and torn. Milikas. No, this is not possible, what are they doing here, he said terrified. Gustav. This happened because you surrendered, the Saint of Pegasus is one of the most important in the Holy War, and without him we will lose, and not only will we die, but also the demons, angels and other beings perished, including your parents and your entire family, he said coldly, as they got closer and closer to the precipice. Milikas. No, I won't allow it, I'll save them, he said running at full speed. The redeed was able to get there and stood in front of his mother, pushing her out of the line, but she began to scream and writhe, which confused the soldiers to the point that he didn't notice that the silver-haired girl rolled over and threw herself into the hole. Milikas. Mama, he screamed in horror trying to jump to save her, but was stopped by the brown-haired boy. Gustav. You can't do anything to save her, this is her destiny, he said seriously holding him. Milikas. No, this can't happen, it has to be a lie, let me save her please, he said desperately. Gustav. Understand, you can't do anything because you are weak, he said seriously. Milikas. I do not deny I am strong and I will protect you, he shouted loudly, releasing a blue aura and breaking the illusion. Issei. He got it, he said seriously, seeing the blue aura. Rias. My Milikas, she said amazed, seeing and feeling the boy's power. Milikas. To my Pegasus, he screamed as the cloth suddenly opened. The armor split into different pieces and began to dress the redeed, who seemed to be more motivated than ever. Everyone was more than surprised looking at Milikas with the armor of the legendary Pegasus, while he looked seriously at the Saint of Leo, who only kept smiling at what had just happened. Milikas Pegasus Ryusekin, he said, throwing a punch with his fist. Everyone saw how the violent attack hit the saint, who did not bother to dodge them while soldiers appeared behind him. Gustav. I think I've lost, he said without flinching. Milikas. What did you say? No, this is not over, he said somewhat tired. Gustav. You're wrong, you managed to damage me with your meteor, the first to damage me in more than 2 years, he said looking at the boy, while a small cut appeared on his cheek, surprising everyone. Athena. The meeting has ended, she said seriously, surprising the brown-haired boy. Milikas. Seriously, that means, he said excitedly. Athena. Congratulations, Milikas of Pegasus. Greek underworld. We can see Hades sitting on his throne in front of a boy who had a crazy look. Hades. I think we have a deal, young sekiryuutei, he said seriously. Zack. It was a real pleasure for me. Painful visit. The brown-haired boy held the Redeed's shoulder while he acknowledged his great work in this great battle, in addition to having earned his armor. Issei. Congratulations soldiers, you are finally a saint, he said calmly. Milikas. Thank you Issei-sensei, he said happily while looking at his body with the armor. Ria's Milikas, said the Redeed, arriving with Integra, surprising both saints. Milikas. Ria's one Sama, said, surprised, running into the girl's arms. Issei. What are you doing here, Gremory, he said somewhat seriously. Ria's. Hi Issei, she said a little nervously. Issei. You brought her here, he said seriously, looking at the Gemini saint. Integra. Don't look at me, she got here on her own, she said nonchalantly. Ria's. She's right, I came by myself, she said calmly. Milikas. One Sama, you saw me winning the armor, he said happily. Ria's. Yes, I saw it, and you look great in that armor. Your mom will be excited when she sees you, she said happily. Issei. Okay, soldiers, I'll leave you with her, that's why you're here, not to see soldiers, he said seriously, turning his back on the Redeed, urging her to where the Gemini was. Ria's. Issei, please wait, I want to talk to you, she said nervously. Issei. You and I have nothing to talk about, I think I told you in Kuo, he said seriously without looking at the Redeed. Ria's. Yes, you already told me, but please let me talk to you please, she said something sad. Issei. I have neither the time nor the desire to talk to you, he said seriously. Ria's. Please, I only ask you for 5 minutes, that's all I ask of you, she said nervously. Issei puff, it's okay, just 5 minutes no more, he said seriously, while the Redeed smiled. So both began to walk while the military man left with some apprentices who congratulated him, and the Golden Saint left with her companions. 4 minutes later. As the two young men walked along a long path, they came to a small town and then went to a cafe where they both sat down to talk. Issei. Well, what do you want to talk about? He said seriously. Ria's. First of all I wanted to apologize, she said, lowering her head in a sign of regret. Issei. And what are you apologizing for? He said seriously while drinking some coffee. Ria's. For everything I did to you in the past when we were children, you didn't deserve me, and I had to learn the hard way to realize the good things I lost when you left my side, she said sadly, trying not to cry. Issei. You know, even though I cried many nights and wondered what I had done to deserve the contempt of everyone around me, I never held any grudge or remorse towards them. In fact, I hoped that one day everything would end and we could all live happily, but in the end I realized that I was unnecessary in that place, and that's why when I had the opportunity to leave, I did it so that everyone would be happy without the hindrance that I was, he said with a sad look, but you could feel the sad tone in his voice. Ria's. No, that's not true. Not even a week went by without me realizing the mistake I made, and Akeno too. As soon as you disappeared, we knew how important you were in our lives, and we tried to find you, but we didn't, and as time went by, our pain increased, especially with that idiot Zack, who over the smallest things inflated his ego and arrogance, becoming unbearable, she said sadly. Issei. I see, so what you're doing is looking for a new toy, now that the one you have got out of your hands, he said seriously. Ria's. No, that's not true. All these years I've tried to find you, and there were always people who told me to give up, but I never did. I always sent my relative to look for you in different parts of the country. I even had a map with all the cities and towns in Japan, where I marked the places where he had gone, so he wouldn't have to search in circles. He said sadly, taking out a notebook and showing a map with all the cities in his country. Issei. I see, but the truth is that you don't have to worry because as I said, I have never had any resentment or hatred towards them, so don't worry, and if you want to feel better, I'll forgive you, he said calmly. Ria's. Thank you very much, thank you, she said hopefully. Issei. Hey, you know something, it's funny now that you tell me what happened to you with him, he said thoughtfully. Ria's. How, she said curiously. Issei. Among the Golden Saints there are stories or legends between them, and although I am the saint of Sagittarius, my story seems like that of Gemini, he said, looking at the blue sky. Ria's. Because, she said curiously. Issei. It is always said that the Gemini saint is born with a twin brother who represents light and darkness. The saint is the one who represents light while the other lives in the shadow. At first we could say that I was the shadow and he was the light, but it seems that at the end of everything the roles were reversed, right? He said with a slight smile. Ria's. I think that now it is proven that before, now and always you were the light, she said calmly. Issei. If you're right, listen, where do you have to stay? He said curiously. Ria's. Now that you mention it, no, she said incredulously. Issei. Look, if you walk 3 blocks in that direction, when you turn left there is a hotel, tell them that the Saint of Sagittarius sent you, they will give you lodging without any expense, he said carefree. Ria's. No, Issei, it's not necessary, I have money, she said nervously. Issei. Don't worry, they won't charge me or my guests anything, he said, giving him a medal with the Sagittarius symbol. Rias. Thank you, she said sadly. Issei. Don't forget to show them that coin, he said, leaving the place, leaving a very happy Reed. Rias. Issei, I already earned your forgiveness, now I will win your heart. Underworld city of Lilith. The city was covered by loud explosions everywhere, worrying the Mayu who didn't know who was causing this action. Serzich. Grafia quickly divides our soldiers into two groups, one in charge of facing those responsible for this, and the rest in charge of helping the wounded, he said seriously. Grafia. At your command, she couldn't continue because an attack sent part of the Reed's office flying, alerting both of them. Serzich. Who are you? Show yourself, he said seriously without lowering his guard. Nice to meet you, Mr. Lucifer, said a being with a strange armor. Serzich. Who are you? He said seriously. Pardon my manners, I am Diomed de Wendigo, a berserker, he said seriously. Serzich. A berserker, he said confused. Diomed. This is a berserker who serves the great god Ares. The Pegasus appears. Issei was at home seriously thinking about what had happened lately, if Rias really spoke the truth and if he could trust her, but his thoughts were interrupted by the Silver Saint Shaina. Shaina. Issei, we have an emergency, she said seriously. Issei. Tell me what's wrong, he said seriously. Shaina. Ares's berserkers are attacking the underworld, she said nervously. Issei. First the specters, now berserkers, damn it, he said seriously, leaving the house. Shaina. Where are you going? She screamed as the brown-haired boy walked away. Issei. Tell the patriarch that I will go and take Pegasus, shouted in the distance. Shaina, but what? 5 minutes later. Training camp. We see the Reed talking with other boys when suddenly he was surprised by the appearance of the golden centaur, which surprised him. Issei, Milikas, I need you, he said seriously. Milikas. Issei sensei, what's wrong, he said confused. Issei. It's time for your first mission, he said seriously. Milikas. He's serious, where do we have to go? He said excitedly. Issei, to the underworld. Hotel Aldea. In one of the rooms there was a Reed contemplating the beautiful views that the place had and having a great view of the sanctuary of the 12 houses, especially a certain house of a winged knight. Issei. Rias said behind her with the Reed. Rias. Issei, don't do that, what's wrong, she said holding her chest because of the scare it gave her. Issei. We have an emergency, and he couldn't continue because he saw a magic circle appear in the girl's ear. Rias. This can't be, I screamed worriedly hearing a voice in the circle. Issei. They're attacking the underworld, right? He said seriously. Rias. How do you know? She said confused. Issei. That's what we came for, we need your help to go to the underworld to help, he said seriously. Rias. If we have to go as soon as possible. Underworld city of Lilith. The whole place was a war zone, and high-class demons and their retinues fought against the berserkers, even against the strongest ones, the mass themselves fought against them. Serzich. I must admit that you are really strong, he said seriously looking at Diomed de Wendigo. Diomed. It's not for nothing that I'm one of my Lord Ares's generals, he said seriously. Serzich. Even if it were so, it wouldn't defeat me, he couldn't continue because a holy ray hit the berserker. Grafia. Akeno said seriously watching how the brunette and the Reed's entourage appeared. Akeno. Serzich-sama, we are here, she said seriously. Serzich. Akeno, where are you, Rias, he said confused. Akeno. Well, he couldn't continue because the berserker interrupted him. Diomed. I don't care how many there are, they will all die before my Wendigo whirlwind, he said, launching a large spinning blast. Everyone looked at the imposing attack that was going in their direction, but before acting a blue flash passed by them and with great ferocity, they launched themselves against the attack, crashing their fist against it. Serzich. But what just happened? He said incredulously watching as the being who saved them fell in front of him. Milikas. Hello dad, hello mom, said the boy turning around with a big smile wearing his armor. Grafia. Milikas, my little one, she said surprised. Serzich. Milikas, he said in amazement, feeling a strange power in the boy. Akeno. That's Milikas, she said incredulously seeing the boy with that armor. It was the best I found. Issei. Good job stopping that big blow, he said calmly appearing with laughter. Serzich. Issei said confused looking at the boy. Issei. Hello Mau Lucifer, he said calmly. Diomed. So the saints of Athena have appeared, I don't care, I'll kill them all, he said seriously. Issei. Milikas, let me finish him off, if he fought your father he's most likely at the rank of 1 silver, but next time Serzich, don't hold back, he said seriously. Diomed. What the hell are you talking about? Said the berserker angrily. Issei. Serzich is capable of fighting Hades and could win, but even if he won, he would not last long and would end up dying, he said seriously. Diomed. That has to be a lie, he said nervously. Issei. I don't know, it's your decision, but he's more powerful than the original Mao. Now think about it in the world of the dead. Atomic thunder, he said, launching his powerful attack. Diamond. This is impossible, I cannot be defeated, screamed, disappearing due to the monster's power. Zodiac. Wow, you continue to show that great ability, he said calmly. Issei. Yes, and next time don't hold back, look at the situation of your home. It's not for you to waste time with an opponent if you have the opportunity to beat him, he said seriously, reprimanding the Mao. Zodiac. I'm sorry, he said with his head down. Bekeno. Wow, Issei is much younger than Zodiac, but he treats him like a child, she said confused. Rias. Issei, more berserkers are approaching, she said nervously, seeing a group going in her direction. Issei. Milikas, it's your turn, he said seriously. Milikas. Really, he said excitedly. Rafia. You're crazy, there are too many for him, she screamed worriedly. Issei. He has to stop seeing soldiers as a child, he has to understand that he is maturing, and he has to show what he is made of. Do it, boy, he said carefree. Milikas. If not, I will let you down, he said excitedly, making some strange poses. Zodiac. What are you doing? He said confused. Issei. Just watch, he said seriously. Milikas. Pegasus Ryu say, can I shout, throwing a bunch of punches, finishing off all the enemies. Bekeno. Incredible, she said amazed. Zenobia. Milikas is very strong, she said shocked. Rafia. Milikas said in shock. Zack. I see, Mr. Hades is right, the Pegasus is a danger, I must be fast, he thought seriously. Milikas. It was good, master, he said excitedly. Issei. Yes, but this has just begun, we must finish off the others, he said seriously. Milikas. Sure, he couldn't continue because he saw a crimson fist stop in front of him. Everyone was in shock watching as a brown-haired boy was trying to hit the redeed, but they could also see another brown-haired boy in golden armor stopping the blow by holding his arm very calmly. Issei. What was sekiryuutei trying to do? A betrayal of the sekiryuutei. Everyone was silent as they watched a brown-haired boy stop his brother's fist as he tried to hit the Pegasus Saint, who looked at his master in surprise during such an action. Issei. Well, sekiryuutei will give us an explanation, he said coldly, while the other brown-haired boy desperately tried to free himself from the grip. Zack. It's not obvious, I chose the winning side, he said mockingly, while summoning all his armor. Rias. You are a damn traitor, you will pay for this, she shouted angrily, trying to activate the curse of the pieces, but it was of no use. Zack. You were trying something, Rias, he said mockingly as he stretched out his hand and dropped 8 pawn pieces. Zenobia. Impossible, how you got free from the pieces, she screamed confused. Zack. That was thanks to Mr. Hades, he said amused. Issei. Now you're dead, right? He said seriously while everyone was surprised by what the brown-haired boy said. Zack. What can I say? If I wanted to become powerful, I had to accept their rules, he said seriously, while the boosted gear turned black with a green gem that turned purple, and the brown-haired boy activated his armor. Everyone looked at the brown-haired boy's new armor, who only remained face to face with the golden saint, who did not seem surprised. Issei. Wow, Hades surprises me, he created an exact replica of the boosted gear in a Sapphir's version, haha, how interesting, he said seriously. Zack. Now with the power that Lord Hades gave me, he will make me invent. He couldn't continue because Issei hit him, sending him flying. Issei didn't wait a single second to fly in his direction and kicked him in the abdomen, breaking that area of the armor while sending him crashing to the ground. Issei. Did you really think that crawling like a cheap boar to Hades would be enough to defeat me? He said seriously. Zack. Silence now, I have the power to kill you, he said angrily, launching a powerful dragon shoot. Issei. That's what you think, Ki Iron's impulse, he said, throwing a punch in the air, creating a powerful gust of cosmos rebuking the attack. Zack. Boo, but how is it possible? Hades gave me the power to beat you, he shouted angry and frustrated. Issei. You don't understand, right? He only did that to use you. You never mattered to him. You were just a vile idiot who gave everything for a little power in order to defeat me. What the hell is wrong with you? Why are you obsessed with killing me? He said with disgust. Zack. Shut up, screams angrily. Issei. I only ask you the reason for that wish. I left you all a long time ago, but it seems as if you have a grudge against me for all the time I was gone, he said seriously. Zack. You want to know, I'll tell you, my life went to shit since you left. Everything was perfect, everyone focused on you while I was the perfect model son without problems, but with your damn departure, everyone began to abandon me, everyone told me that I was a disgusting person, and everyone started looking for you, dad, mom, Rias, no one was with me anymore. Everyone just spent their time looking for you, leaving me alone as if I didn't matter to them. With a demon I was the sekiryuutei, I had to be the most important thing for the family, for the entrance, but this seemed to matter to no one, they only cared about finding you, shouted angrily. Issei. Wow, and for you, for a being who never showed empathy for me, who only spent his time humiliating me, I had to stay so you could have a happy life, haha, what a good joke, let me tell you something, now you understand everything I suffered when I lived with you, he said seriously while holding the boy's helmet. Zack. Of course not you, he couldn't continue because Issei interrupted him. Issei. To me that all of you humiliated me every damn birthday you enjoyed all the luxuries if I was lucky I received a miserable piece of cake that you threw on the floor my life was a damn hell every damn second that I shared living with you because of you and you want to victimize yourself, don't make me laugh, the only thing you show is how pathetic you are because instead of looking for a way out or a purpose, but you only let yourself be consumed by hate and resentment, now look at you ended up like a dog of Hades, he screamed with all the resentment and pain he had in his heart. In the distance, Riaz and her entourage felt sadness when they heard the brown-haired boy, but the ones who felt the most pain were the Redeed, Akeno and Arena who were present at this. Issei. How can you be so pathetic, you thought you were better than me, but I will never show it, it was simply arrogance, you never had the power to do it, even with the Red Emperor with you, you could become a fearsome warrior, and could be admired and respected not only by demons, but throughout the supernatural world, but you know that despite all that I could never hate you. I never stopped seeing you as my brother, he said sadly as he broke the helmet of the brown-haired boy who was looking at the eyes of both brothers crossing. Zack. You what he said while his eyes widened in shock. Issei. As you hear it, I have never had resentment in my heart that only causes a poison that slowly rots you until you stop being who you are, so since I took the path to sainthood, I forgave you for everything, he said sadly as he turned around. Zack. That has to be a lie, how could you forgive everything that happened? He said in disbelief. Issei. It was the best for me, if you don't believe me it's okay, he said with a smile as he began to walk. Zack. Issei forgive me, he said while raising his hand while Issei continued to turn his back on him. Issei. I have nothing to forgive you anymore, he couldn't continue because a sound caught his attention. Zack. Puaggg, everyone saw how the brown-haired boy had pierced his chest with his hand. Issei. But what did you do, I shouted running to him. The other brown-haired boy fell into his arms as blood came out of his mouth. Issei desperately tried to see his wound, but he wouldn't take his arm off his chest due to Issei's nervousness. Zack. I have no way out now, I led myself to this path, I looked for it alone, please Issei forgive me, and please take care of them, he said while raising his other hand. Issei. I forgive you, he said nervously holding his hand while he smiled slightly. Zack. Take care, brother. A promise. The rain began to fall heavily in the city of Lilith, helping in some parts where there were fires, but the most striking thing was that in front of the Gremory castle, the Saint Issei of Sagittarius had in his hands the body of his brother Zack, who a few seconds ago had taken his own life, but not before apologizing to Issei. Milikas. Issei-sensei, okay, he said nervously. Issei. If you don't worry, I'm fine, he said without looking at him while he stood up and walked towards Urzich. Urzich. Issei, he couldn't continue because the brown-haired boy interrupted him. Issei. Can I ask you a favor, he said with a sad tone. Urzich. Sure, whatever, he said surprised. Issei. Give him a decent burial, he said while giving him the body of the other brown-haired boy. Urzich. Don't worry, I'll do it, he said sadly. Issei. And please don't let anyone know about your betrayal, let this stay between us, he said seriously while Ria's entourage, her parents and Grafia looked at each other. Urzich. So it will be, he said with a firm voice, while the brown-haired boy just nodded. Issei. Let's go, Milikas, we're not done yet, he said starting to run while tears came out of his face, but they were only noticed by Milikas and Rilas. Milikas. Yes sensei, he said following him. Issei. I hope you can rest in peace after this. As the members of the Gremory clan watched the two saints leave in the rain, Urzich created a transportation circle, which surprised them, but did not take away their sad faces from the boy's death. Rias. Nai-sama, what will you do, she said confused. Urzich. I'll take him to Ku. I think it's the most appropriate place for his burial, he said seriously. Grafia. You will tell his parents what happened, she said sadly. Urzich. I can't hide the truth from them, but I want them to tell the others that Zack died protecting Issei from a treacherous attack, that he protected his brother until the end, understood, he said seriously while everyone nodded. Ross. But then everyone will know that we lost the sekiryuutei, she said thoughtfully. Zodiac. Maybe the factions, but the enemies already knew about this, he said seriously. Akeno. Lord Gremory, what are you referring to, she said curiously. Zodiac. The young Sagittarius said that he died and gave his life to obtain power. That means that at the moment he gave his soul to Hades, he lost Drake, and what we saw was only a replica created by Hades, therefore he already knew that we did not have the Red Dragon Emperor, he said seriously, while everyone was surprised. Rias. Then we are at a disadvantage, she said with her head down. I wouldn't say that, Gremory Era said a voice in the Redeed's hand. Rias, Drake screamed, surprising everyone. Drake. I took advantage of the moment when I was free after the boy's death, and you were the first person I thought of to become my new carrier. I also tried to inform them of what happened, but I ended up very tired, he said seriously. Rias. Really, she said surprised. Drake. No, I actually thought about looking for the young Issei, but I think that with his current level, rather than helping him, I would be a hindrance, so in order not to weaken the factions, I turned to you, he said seriously. Rias. I see, thanks for your help, she said nervously. Drake. I hope the best for you, Gremory, he said seriously. Rias. If I promise. Sanctuary of Athena, Greece. We see the patriarch looking at a blue-haired knight who was kneeling in front of him while giving him instructions about his new mission. Patriarch. Manigoldo, you understand what you have to do, right? He said seriously. Manigoldo. Yes, I'll go to Italy and enter the territories of Hades in the human world, he said seriously. Patriarch. This mission is very important, so don't fail, he said seriously. Manigoldo. Hey, calm down, old man, I know how to do my job, see you later, he said seriously as he began to walk. Sasha. Do you really believe that he can do it? She said curiously. Patriarch. Of course, if there isn't a bigger stubborn person than him, he won't fail, he said with his arms crossed. Sasha. I hope everything goes well for you. Houses of the Sanctuary. We see the blue-haired boy going down the stairs at high speed, finding a peculiar scene seeing the Pisces saint very affectionate with the flower girl who had already recovered. Magoldo. Oh, if only I could see them lovebirds, he said mockingly. Albafica. Hello Manigoldo, you don't have anyone to bother besides us, he said somewhat annoyed. Manigoldo. Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. Well, see you later. I have a mission. Take care of her. It seems that she loves you very much, he said calmly as he began to walk. Albafica. Thanks, see you when you come back, he said somewhat confused. Manigoldo. I'm glad you finally left your solitude behind. Underworld city of Lilith. We see the brown-haired man and the red-haired man fighting against a few soldiers that remained, eliminating them without much trouble since they were not of a high level. Issei. This group and we're done, he said calmly while lowering his fist. Milikas. If they weren't much trouble, he said nervously because some demons didn't take their eyes off him since they knew who he was. What a great job, Issei, said a voice behind him. Issei. Integrate, what are you doing here? He said curiously, looking at his Gemini partner. Integra. Well, the patriarch sent me so I could take you to the sanctuary without any problems, but I had fun watching the show and seeing that you did a great job with the Pegasus Saint, he said calmly, while Milikas blushed at the compliment. Issei. I see, and tell me you know how things are over there, he said curiously. Integra. Very calm, nothing big has happened since Hades' attack, but the atmosphere is still tense and anguished, not knowing if we will suffer another attack from him, she said thoughtfully. Issei. I see, well I think we're done, let's go home, he said calmly while the soldiers took down the last one. Do you really think I'm done? Don't forget about me? Said a voice familiar to the brown-haired boy. Issei. Kagaho. Greek underworld Hades castle. We see the king of the underworld painting a rather beautiful picture while being guarded by Pandora, who played her harp and a strange three-headed dog, but his work was interrupted by a specter who entered the place. Rhadamanthes. My lord Rhadamanthes of Wyvern presents himself before you, humiliated and defeated, he said kneeling with helplessness on his face. Hades. You really have courage, Rhadamanthes, to appear before me after your defeat at the hands of Scorpio, he said seriously while staring at him. Rhadamanthes. I'm sorry sir that I failed you, he said bowing his head. Hades. I know, but I see that you still show devotion and you can still be useful to me. I will give you the opportunity to redeem yourself, he said seriously, appearing in front of him and sticking his hand in his chest, tearing out his heart that was on fire. Rhadamanthes. My lord, he said surprised. Hades. Interesting, really interesting, I can't believe that the ravages of the scorpion still continue, but it doesn't matter, he said biting his finger and spilling his blood on the heart and turning it off. Pandora. My lord, what are you doing? She said confused. Hades. I will give him the power of a god. The light rest. The tension could be felt in the atmosphere as the three saints stared at the specter of Bennu, who kept smiling proudly at the Sagittarius saint who remained serious. Issei Bennu. Ah, both shouted loudly, clashing their fists together, creating a huge shockwave that sent everything around them flying. Just imagine that it is Sagittarius and not Libra. Milikas. The power of those two is surprising, he said incredulously. Integra. The power of that specter is at the level of an underworld judge, she said surprised. Issei. I see that you still have that anger that you showed since the last time we saw each other, he said, while throwing a punch in the black-haired man's face. Kagaho. And you are still just as insignificant, she said, hitting him in the chest. Issei. You know, for a ghost, I like you, he said, amused as he rose with his wings, being imitated by Kagaho. Kagaho. To be honest, I like you too, he said, hitting himself in the face at the same time. Milikas. How strange, he said, confused. Integra. What's happening, Pegasus? She said curiously. Milikas. They are not fighting as if they hate each other, well, not on the part of Issei-sensei, he said curiously. Integra. Well, that's because Issei normally doesn't show his emotions, he fights while staying calm, she said thoughtfully. Milikas. Well, when he normally fights he does show displeasure towards the specters or the berserkers of Ares, but against Benyu, it's not like he knows anything about the specter, he said curiously without looking away from the fight. Kagaho. Ah, you're tiring me now, solar corona burst, he said furiously, launching his powerful attack. Issei. I don't understand what your motivation is to keep fighting, I feel sorry for you, atomic thunder, he said seriously, launching his own attack, destroying Benyu's. Kagaho. I don't care what you say, he couldn't continue because a voice sounded in his head. Hades. Retreat, Kagaho, the battle in the city of Lilith has been lost, we must regroup, he said seriously. Kagaho. As my lord Hades commands, he said seriously, beginning to rise. Issei. What the hell are you doing? He said seriously. Kagaho. This won't be the last time we see each other, Sagittarius, he said, disappearing from everyone's sight. Issei. I will wait for our next meeting, he said calmly while looking at the sky. Milikas. Issei-sensei, we must finish off the enemies, he said seriously. Issei. Calm down, it seems that everyone has retreated, he said from the sky, watching how the city of the underworld was already at peace. Integra. I think we should go too, she said seriously. Issei. If we return to the shrine. 3 days later. Time began to pass relatively normally for the people of the underworld, who returned to normality thanks to the help of the other factions. In addition, the news of the death of the sekiryuutei was given, which left most in shock, but the most affected were the boy's parents, who were devastated by his loss but could feel a little peace knowing that he had made peace with his brother. Sanctuary of Athena. Here the news of the attack on the underworld and the death of the sekiryuutei did not have much impact, since the alliance with the demons had not been realized much, and the truth is they did not know the sekiryuutei, while Issei, despite the death of his brother, continued with his work as a knight, especially training the Pegasus. Issei. Again, he said seriously. Milikas. Pegasus Ryusei-ken said, launching his attack towards the stones. Issei. Well, you're moving forward very quickly, he said calmly. Milikas. Thank you, teacher, he said, somewhat tired. Why don't you let the boy have a break? Said a voice behind them. Issei. Aldebaran, hello, he said calmly. Aldebaran. Hello, Issei, I see that the little Pegasus is getting stronger, he said calmly. Milikas. Nice to meet you, Aldebaran of Taurus, he said respectfully. Aldebaran. Calm down, boy, don't be so respectful, just call me Aldebaran, he said calmly. Issei. Hey guys, take a break while I talk to Aldebaran, he said calmly. Milikas. It's okay, he said happily. Aldebaran. He is still a child, he should not be involved in war issues, he should live his life according to his age, he said thoughtfully. Issei. It's the cross he had to bear, no one could avoid that, although it's sad to see how destiny puts children in this war, he said with a calm but somewhat sad look. Aldebaran. I know, and tell me how you feel after your brother's death, he said thoughtfully. Issei. The truth is that it makes me a little sad because it's my family, but it's like the death of a distant relative, someone you didn't know very well, and their death itself doesn't affect you at all, plus you add the fact of what we're experiencing, and it makes me very confused, said Divagrante. Aldebaran. I can't deny that you're right, but your gaze doesn't lie. It hurts you to have lost a loved one, and that's normal. Despite all the problems you've had, you'll continue to be a family, and accepting the pain is okay. You don't have to deny it. No one is going to judge you, he said calmly, watching as a few small tears fell from the chestnut tree. Mr. Aldebaran, said a boy who arrived running with 2 others. Aldebaran, I have guys, what's going on, he said curiously. Tinio. Miss Athena requests your presence and that of Mr. Issei, he said nervously. Issei. Come on, Milikas, I have to go, he said seriously. Milikas. I understand, good luck, he said calmly. Aldebaran. Come on, maybe it's a new mission. House of Leo. We see the wandering golden lion as he began to walk towards the next house, being stopped by the Virgo saint who was halfway up the stairs between his house and his. Gustav. Something's wrong, Asmita, he said seriously. Asmita. We have to talk, he said seriously. Gustav. What do you want, he said seriously. Asmita. I know you want to go to the underworld and I can help you, he said seriously. Gustav. What, are you serious? He said surprised. Asmita. That's right, but we have to do it at the right time, he said seriously. Well, they both heard some footsteps approaching. Gustav. Okay, let's go now. Hades' Castle, Italy. We see two men calmly playing chess while talking about topics related to the Holy War, but the most striking thing about them were some strange star marks on each of their foreheads. Thanatos. And do you really think that the idea of involving more gods in this holy war is good, he said curiously. Hypnos. Yes, the truth is that, in addition, Lord Hades is very determined that this be the last holy war once and for all, he said seriously. Thanatos. I'm dying, he couldn't continue because above them a strange portal opened from which a golden saint fell in front of them, and without hesitation, the saint unleashed a powerful blow towards the black-haired man, but was stopped by the same saint using a chess piece. Thanatos. But who is this interesting human? He said curiously while the saint looked at him furiously. Manigoldo. I am the great Manigoldo of Cancer and I have come to kill you. Battle against death. The two subjects looked at the golden saint who did not take his gaze off the black-haired man, who was beginning to get tired of an insignificant human coming to his chambers to confront him, but on the other hand, he was somewhat intrigued to know what motivated the human to face him, without showing any fear. Thanatos. Your determination is interesting, human. I would like to know how you plan to kill a god, said the black-haired man mockingly. Manigoldo. With all my power, he said, jumping and throwing a blue sphere that destroyed the table where the gods were playing. Hypnos. I see that you will personally take care of this guy. I hope you do it quickly, said the blonde, disappearing from the place. Thanatos. Calm down, brother, it will be fast, he said calmly, while the space around Cancer was distorted, making him appear in a kind of chessboard quite large, but that was quickly caught by different giant pieces. Manigoldo. Do you think that will be enough to stop me? Don't underestimate me. Infernal loads, he said angrily, while strange blue auras concentrated around him, creating a sphere in his hand that then detonated with great force. Thanatos. Wow, how skilled, it's a pity that it won't be enough to stop me, he said seriously, already with his strange armor, launching a powerful attack that Manigoldo couldn't dodge, hitting him squarely. Thanatos. See, that's what happens when a pathetic human decides to face a god, he said with arrogance. Manigoldo. You think I don't know, I know that this fight could cost me my life, but I'm tired of you gods doing and undoing as you please, and deciding what to do with us, and when to get rid of us as if we were simple garbage for you, that's why I will finish you off, he said, standing up with a lot of blood on his body. Thanatos. You are a very good dreamer, I admit it, but it is time to finish you off, he said seriously, while hundreds of souls appeared around him and launched themselves against Cancer. Hellish waves of voice was heard that caused a huge explosion that surprised the minor god. Thanatos. Who are you? Show yourself, he said angrily. You know your attack is useless against us since you use souls to attack, but we also use them as gunpowder for an explosion. The more there are the bigger the explosion will be, said a man with a strange golden helmet and white clothes. Manigoldo. It took you a long time to arrive, Patriarch. Underworld Gremory Castle. We can see at the back of the castle Aretide fighting fiercely against her brother while she was using a red gauntlet, but she was also observed by a group of people who saw how the girl was trying very hard. Serzich. Are you sure you want to continue? He said seriously. Riaz. Because you're already tired, she said seriously while staying on guard. Serzich. I say this because of the great effort you are making, he said seriously. Akeno. Serzich-sama is right, Riaz should rest, she said, somewhat worried about her king and friend. Riaz. Stop the nonsense, what we are wearing is nothing compared to what the saints and aspiring saints do in the sanctuary of Athena, she said seriously. Serzich. You saw them training, he said seriously. Riaz. Of course I did it, they live a hell doing it, but they don't care, they do it as long as they fulfill their mission. That doesn't show how much Issei had to do to become a saint, and that's why I won't be left behind, she said, releasing her power of destruction with some of Drake's power launching into the attack again. Kiba. But you is really determined, he said seriously. Zenobia. It's true, but it's more than clear that he does this for the Sagittarius ain't, she said seriously. Akeno. Well, it's more than obvious that Issei was someone important to her, and every day she regrets her mistake, and if now she has the slightest chance to be close to him again, she won't waste it, she said seriously, but certainly sadly. Ross. Akeno, are you okay, she said curiously. Akeno. Yes, of course, it's nothing, she said without looking at her companions. Ross. Okay, she said, not very convinced. Akeno. She could get a forgiveness from Issei that I will never have. Hades' Castle, Italy. Thanatos and Manigoldo looked at the patriarch of the sanctuary, who stared at the god who increased his fury every moment when he saw that more and more human vermin were appearing in the castle of his lord Hades, something that was totally unacceptable. Thanatos. I don't care how many there are, I'll kill them all, he said furiously. Patriarch. Do whatever you want, we will stop you, he said seriously, while some strange blue ties came out of him and tied the god, but something strange happened since the dimension broke, revealing a strange place, and a larger form of Thanatos appeared behind him. Thanatos. What the hell are you thinking? This is the path of the gods. If you set foot on it, you will die. He said seriously. Patriarch. Maybe, but we won't die without you going with us, he said seriously. Thanatos. Idiots, you will never kill a god, he shouted furiously while launching a powerful attack on the patriarch, who was defenseless by holding back Thanatos. Manigoldo. You will not do it, I will not let you touch my master, he said seriously, receiving the attack, receiving brutal damage to the point of losing a leg. Patriarch Manigoldo worried cry. Manigoldo. Don't worry, you keep going, he said seriously. Thanatos. You managed to stop one, but what about the next one? He couldn't continue because Manigoldo, with pure force of will, jumped until he reached his height. Manigoldo. Shut your mouth for once and for all, he said furiously, hitting the god in the face. Thanatos. Damn human, how dare you touch me, he screamed, launching his soul attack again. Patriarch. I will not allow it, he said angrily, activating the infernal waves, but with very little power, since he had to use a large part of the cosmos to keep the god subdued. Manigoldo. Hey, I'm not defeated yet, he said on the floor, using what little he had left to activate the infernal waves. Thanatos. Unhappy people who plan, he said, annoyed seeing how his soul separated from his body. Patriarch. We know that this is not your body, it is just that of a human that you usurped, he said angrily. Thanatos. Do you think that with it they will beat me? I will simply go back in, he said seriously. Manigoldo. And how would you return to a body that no longer exists, he said, jumping and pushing the body towards the path of the gods. Thanatos. What the hell are you doing, he said upset. Manigoldo. Defeating death, he said seriously while both bodies, the host of Thanatos and Manigoldo, disappeared completely. Patriarch. What a stupid thing you did, Manigoldo screams in pain. Thanatos. Hahaha, what a nice try but useless in the end, he said seriously while a black star appeared on the patriarch's forehead. Patriarch. You think I didn't plan this, he said seriously while he tore off part of his clothing, revealing armor. Thanatos. What is that? He said confused. Patriarch. This is my brother's armor, Altar's armor, and with it I will seal you inside my body long enough to lock you in Athena's box, he said seriously as he took out a small chest and opened it, beginning to swallow Thanatos' soul. Patriarch. Allow me to accompany you, Manigoldo. Sanctuary of Athena, House of Cancer. We see Xian entering the house at full speed due to Athena's call, but she suddenly stopped when she felt like two presences had just disappeared. Xian. The cosmos of the patriarch and Manigoldo disappeared, Manigoldo said incredulously, seeing the blue-haired man. Manigoldo. Hi Xian, could you do me a favor? He said calmly. Xian, of course, something, he said curiously. Manigoldo. Give this to your master, a gift from me, he said calmly, throwing him the patriarch's helmet. Manigoldo. Take care of the rest, okay? He said calmly as he disappeared. Xian, so you left too, Manigoldo. Do angels appear? A chill ran through the bodies of the Golden Saints after feeling how the cosmos of one of their companions had completely vanished along with that of the patriarch, but it was clear that this could happen after all, they were in a war, but it was also clear that the most affected was Aphrodite, since despite Cancer's behavior, he came to see him as a friend. Athena. From your faces I think you should have already realized, right? Said the purple-haired girl with a sad expression. Integra. Then the patriarch and Manigoldo, she said incredulously. Xian. They gave their lives in battle, he said seriously as he entered the place. Aldrin. The patriarch's helmet, how did you get it? He said, confused like most people. Xian. Manigoldo gave it to me as his last will, he asked me to give it to you, master, he said seriously while turning his face in one direction. Wow, his student was just as stubborn as my brother, said an elderly man coming out of the shadows who looked very similar to the patriarch, except that he had 2 dots on his forehead. Athena. I present to you Hakurei, former saint of Altar, the twin brother of Patriarch Sage, she said calmly, while the man made a small bow. Hakurei. It's a pleasure to meet you, the generation of golden saints, he said calmly, while the saints looked at him seriously. Athena. He will help me at the sanctuary, but now we have to make our next move, she said seriously. Issei. And what would that movement be, he said curiously. Athena. Go to the underworld. Underworld, DXD. We can see a damage count between the 4 demon leaders, while outside were a few young demons who were protecting the city after the attack of Ares' servants. Seraphil. Then your sister is the current sekiryuutei, she said seriously looking at the red-haired Mao. Surzich. That's right, when Zack died, the Red Emperor entered my sister's body, he said seriously. Ajuka. At least we have not lost the power of the Red Emperor. If we had, we would have a clear disadvantage against the power of the Olympic armies, he said thoughtfully. Surzich. What worries me the most is how weak the underworld looked during its attack. If it weren't for the saints of Sagittarius and Pegasus, we could have received much more damage, and he couldn't continue because the doors suddenly opened, revealing a terrified Tsubaki. Tsubaki. Seraphil-sama, we need your help, she said scared, revealing Sona unconscious with 4 holes in her body. Seraphil. Sona screamed in terror as she ran to help her sister. Surzich. But what happened? He said incredulously. Tsubaki. We were standing guard and out of nowhere 4 flashes of light appeared and attacked Sona, Sekiryuutei, Razor and Sekiryuutei, leaving them seriously injured, and before we could react, we saw how the other high-class devils were attacked in the same way, she said terrified, while Surzich and Ajuka looked out the window, letting them see how the different entourages rescued their kings and Sona's clan helped Sekiryuutei. Seraphil. But what is this? She said while looking at a strange paper near one of the attacks her sister received. Surzich. That looks like a note that says something, he said curiously. Seraphil, it is said. Ria's Gremory is next. Surzich's. Ria's. The cult club Academia coup. We can see Ria's and her entourage going about their daily activities while trying to come to terms with what has happened in the last few days, especially the death of her partner. Ria's. If we continue like this, we will complete the month's contracts in less than a week, she said calmly. Kaneko. But you thinks that in this free time we can train, she said a little embarrassed. Ria's. I see you also want to become strong, no Kaneko, she said calmly. Zenobia. You are not the only one, after the humiliating defeat we received from that specter, I also want to improve. It is possible that a war could happen at any moment and I want to be of help, she said seriously, while the other members of the club nodded. Ria's. I'm glad to hear that, and as your king I will give you all my support. The girl suddenly fell silent. Bakeno. Ria's, something's wrong, she said curiously as she approached the redeed. Ria's. Be careful, she screamed as she jumped, pushing the black-haired girl, so that seconds later her desk was destroyed. Tiba. But what was that? He said incredulously while the entire clan was on guard. Ria's. Who are you? Show yourselves, she said seriously. Well, it seems that the little sister of the false Lucifer is more cunning than the other high-class demons, said a voice. If that seems like it, I thought it would be the weakest of all, but look, it turns out it isn't, said another voice. Ria's. The rest of you attack the other high-class demons, she said angrily. 3s and they all fell in seconds, showing how weak the current demons are, he said mockingly. Ria's. Damn you, she said furiously while thinking about Sona and Sekiryuutei. 4 the little Gremory girl got angry, said dying of laughter. Ria's. Who are they? Show your face, she said seriously. With pleasure, Gremory heiress, we will show you the face of your executioners. I am Beelzebub of Seraph, he said seriously, while a blue-haired man appeared from the shadows. I am Astaroth of Cherubim, said another, but this one had purple hair. 3 I am Eligar of Virtue, said a blonde with a mask. 4 and I am Moses of Trono, said a green-haired man with a feminine appearance. The 4. We are the impious angels at the service of Rizivim, they said in unison. Ria's unforgivable angels, she said seriously. Greg. Stay alert, Gremory, it seems that they are very strong, he said in the redeed's mind. Beelzebub. What's wrong? Aren't you afraid of us? He said, amused. Ria's. Never, she said seriously summoning her gauntlet. Beelzebub. So you are the new Red Empress, he said amused. Eliguar. What does it matter, the result will be the same, he said seriously while sharpening his hands like blades. Bakeno. We won't go down without a fight, she said a little nervously. Astaroth. They think a bunch of brats reincarnated as demons will be able to defeat us, he said amused. Not them, but what about us? He said seriously while at the door of the club there were 3 men in armor. Beelzebub, the warrior gods. Protect ourselves. The atmosphere could be felt quite tense since at any moment a fierce battle could begin between the warrior gods of Asgard against the evil forces of Rizivim, but in the middle of these was the Gremory entourage who knew that they could not be of much help. Beelzebub. Kill them, he said seriously while his companions launched themselves against the Asgardian gods. Siegfried. Attack, he said seriously while his companions nodded and launched themselves against them. Thus the battle began, causing the members of the Gremory clan to move away a couple of meters before seeing how the club was destroyed by the battle, causing all the demons to feel a little fear when seeing the immense power of those 7. Ria's. Damn, they are strong, she said nervously. Beelzebub. Elliger, leave these useless people to us and finish off Serzich's sister, he said seriously. Elliger. At your command, he said seriously as he began to run against the boys. Siegfried. Damn, he said seriously, trying to pass but was stopped by Beelzebub. Riaz. Drake said seriously as she left at full speed. Drake. Okay, Welsh Dragon Booster Gearbalance Breaker Scale Mail. The dragon's voice resounded as the Redeed was covered by the crimson armor. Riaz. They think I'll fall without a fight, she said seriously while landing a punch in Elliger's abdomen. Elliger. Damn brat, that hurt me, and that's why I will kill you, same it Mumken, he said furiously, while his arms changed shape and Riaz watched as a mantis appeared behind her opponent. Riaz. You don't scare me, she said seriously while throwing a punch and her hand collided with Elliger's. Elliger. Stupid girl, he said seriously, so that his hand immediately went through the Redeed's hand. Bremery's Riaz, they shouted worriedly. Riaz. You're the stupid one, she said seriously while Elliger tried to free himself, but it was useless, the Redeed prevented him. Elliger. Damn it, let me go, he said angrily. Riaz. It's my turn, she said seriously summoning Ascalon and with a strong slash she cut off Elliger's arm. Elliger ahhh damn girl, furious scream. Riaz. We're not done yet, she said seriously while launching a dragon shoot. Akeno. Let's help Riaz, she said seriously while throwing a lightning bolt. Kaneko. Yes, she said seriously summoning her Nekomata parts and throwing Senjutsu balls. Ross. Let's go, she said furiously launching a large number of magical attacks. The magical attacks exploded in Elliger, raising a large curtain of smoke, revealing the angel, extremely wounded but still standing. Ross. TSK, you are really tough, she said seriously. Elliger. I will not die until I kill you, he said seriously. Riaz. Just try it. Sanctuary of Athena. We can see the Golden Knights gathered in the House of Ares after knowing what Athena and the Patriarch's brother had planned to do, since it seemed like a very risky or a little extremist idea. Issei. We'll really go to the underworld, he said thoughtfully. Egil. It seems that Athena-sama wants to go all out to defeat Hades, he said seriously. Gustav. But we must also understand that Hades is not only the enemy, there is also Ares, and we do not know if another god is on his side, he said seriously. Issei. And not only gods, but also the Rizavam organization is with Hades, he said seriously. Aldebaran. That's true, and if we all go to fight against Hades, we could leave the human world unprotected, he said seriously. Xion. Let's not forget that Asgard and Poseidon are on our side, he said seriously. Integra. It's true, they could help us protect the human world, she said calmly. Oko. Wow, this situation has both good points, said the brown-haired boy calmly. Shaka. It's best to wait and see how Athena plans to attack the underworld, he said seriously. Golden Saints. It's true. The Cult Club. We can see how the battle continued, but this time the fight looked somewhat even since the entire Grimoire entourage was fighting against one of the angels, while the remaining three were facing the Asgardians, but even so the clan could continue the pace of the battle. Riaz. Damn, even without his arm he's strong, she said seriously. Akeno. Boo, but we still have to stop him, she said tired like the rest of the entourage. Elliger. I'll finally finish with you, he said seriously. Riaz. I won't leave you, she said seriously, but before attacking she saw how the enemy froze. Kaneko. That's it, she said incredulously. Bremery's Gasper, they said incredulously watching the little vampire come out of the rubble somewhat hurt. Asper. Hi, he said weakly. Akeno. Quickly Riaz, finish him off, he said nervously. Riaz. Die, she said furiously launching a powerful dragon shoot against the angel, who did not move being disintegrated by the Redeed's attack. Beelzebub. Damn you, he said furiously. Siegfried. Sword of Odin, he said seriously, throwing a lightning bolt that pierced the angel's chest, knocking him to the ground. Beelzebub. Damn cursed, he said with pain. Siegfried. No matter how hard you try, look around you, your companions have already fallen, he said seriously. At that moment Beelzebub saw how Moses was strangled by the strings of mine and his lyre to the point that his neck was bleeding, and within a few minutes his head was separated from his body. He then watched as his last companion Astaroth was killed by Hagen of Merak with his powerful attack known as Great Ardent Pressure, burning the angel to ashes. Siegfried. It's time for you to join them, Dragon Bravest Blizzard, he said seriously, launching a powerful attack, killing Beelzebub instantly. Riaz. We did it, we survived, she said as she fell to the ground tired. Siegfried. They were brave boys, they showed that they are not afraid of anything, but they must continue to improve. They still need to fight one-on-one against them. Ross. Thank you for coming to help us warrior gods, he said respectfully. Siegfried. You don't have to thank Odin, he still cares about you even when you're a demon, he said calmly, surprising everyone. Riaz. We still owe them our lives, she said calmly. Siegfried. Well, see you later, he said as the three disappeared. Rias. Well, I think we need to train. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.